stop things maybe wobbling so much. Okay, I see Thomas Erickson is in the house early. We've got a few other people here already. Hello folks, say hello in chat. Select live chat or all chat, all messages, however it's worded in the various different versions of the YouTube apps, and we'll get ready and make a start momentarily. Look at my hair, I've only just brushed it. I finished my coffee before we started. Let me put that another way. I finished one coffee before we started. Am I in silhouette? That's really bad, isn't it? Do you know, in a few weeks' time we'll be able to do this outside. For now, it's light now, it's sunny right now, but by the time we finish, it'll be a bit darker and possibly too dark. So maybe in a couple of weeks we'll be able to do this outside again. I don't know, folks. Okay, let's get going, shall we? This is episode 55 of TrampCast, Sunday, February the 9th, 2025. The channel is Delta Mike, down and out in Torrevieja. Delta Mike, that's me. Down and out, homeless. What are the other synonyms? Tramp, hobo, vagrant, an indigent person, a person of no fixed abode. A bum, some might say. Someone who sleeps rough, sleeps on the streets, or in my case, in a field. This is TrampCast, where we look at the successes, the failures, and the other happenings in a week in my life as an Englishman trapped in Spain by circumstance. I could add more there, but I'll leave that. It's becoming kind of a little bit long, the intro, isn't it, nowadays? I maybe need to cut it down a little bit. Now, the format of the show is we do the numbers round, where we look at a few silly facts and figures about the episode number, in this case number 55. That'll be followed by a thank you round, a thank you element section, and then themes of the week, which I haven't really thought about as yet. There haven't really been any. But then we'll look at the details of the week itself, each day, the events and non-events in my life. And then we'll have a quick look at what's upcoming. There's Karen. Hello, Karen. Ever present. Okay, folks. So with that said, there's one more thing, isn't there? Okay, here it is. I had to put in a different line. I missed it out from my notes initially. If you haven't already, folks, I'd appreciate a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, if you've seen more than 2 or 3 of my videos, please consider subscribing. If you're new here, if you're here for the first time, don't subscribe. Not yet. Watch 2 or 3 videos and then make up your mind. If you are new here, I would recommend TrampCast 001. And also, my first ever video is quite entertaining, especially the look of me when I had the long beard. Yeah. And much more unkempt hair, even more unkempt than now. The first video is a good one to check out. What else? Okay, subscribe. Yeah, live. Okay, if you're here right now, right at the beginning of the show, then you're probably live. But if you're joining any time after 5:05 or 5 past whatever hour it is where you are, you might want to check the bottom left corner. You're looking for the red dot next to the word live, rather than sometimes you'll start at the beginning and you'll get like -1 hour or something. Just check that you're live, is all we're saying. And if you're watching this on the replay, if you're not watching this live on Sunday night, then you'll want to watch it with the chat replay, which if you're on a mobile, turn your phone horizontal, tap the screen, and one of the symbols is like a double speech bubble, one speech bubble behind another. That's the chat replay, and you'll be able to play along and watch the chat as it came in live. So you'll be able to see Thomas Eriksson and Karen's comments. Okay, folks, let's begin. And we begin, as we always do, with the numbers section. This is episode 55 of TrampCast, and therefore, a few facts about the number 55. The number 55 is a semi-prime number. So, as well as 1 and itself being its divisors, it only has another pair of divisors, 5 and 11, that are both themselves prime. So it's a semi-prime. It's also a triangular number. If you add up all the numbers from 1 to 10, or from 0 to 10, it makes no difference, you will get the number 55. It's a Fibonacci number, if you remember the Fibonacci sequence. Most people only ever used it at school. So if you start with either 0 and 1 or 1 and 1, and the next digit is, or the next answer, the next result is the last 2 digits added together. So if you start, you'll get to 55, it'll be the 10th number, it'll be the 10th digit. And the next time that TrampCast will be able to say that the episode number is a Fibonacci number will be episode 89. So there's some way to go, about 9 months nearly, before we can say again that the episode number is a Fibonacci number. Okay, we have one most weeks, the International Direct Dialing Code. Whatever your access code for international calls is, type that and the number 55, and that will connect you with Brazil. And finally, as we always have, okay, she doesn't want me to move on yet, she's jealous. There we go, Tina, go. Hey, say hello to the peoples. Another dog barked outside, and so now she has to bark. That's enough, babe. That's enough now, that's okay. Sit down and finish your food. Finish your food. Well, you have finished your food. Okay, you're a good girl, clever girl. Now get a big drink of water. Okay, folks, where was I? I was about to finish off, as we always do, with the 55th item on the periodic table, cesium, which has the symbol CS. It's a soft, silvery, golden alkali metal with a particularly low melting point, 28.5 degrees Celsius, which is 83 Fahrenheit. Basically, on a warm day, this metal just melts at room temperature, or what the room temperature would be on a warm day, 28.5 Celsius. Now this one's particular, this is pyrophoric, which means kind of spontaneously combusts, either in air, or if exposed to water, it's explosive even. Reacts explosively with water. Even if it's in water, it will react right down to minus 116 Celsius or 177 Fahrenheit. Basically, you have to get it super cold to stop it exploding in water or bursting into flames in air. So it tend to be stored in oils. Discovered in 1860 and through a process of flame spectroscopy, and its common uses are in atomic clocks. It's used in science as the basis of the second. A certain change of state, a certain thing that happens to it, has a fixed period, and you multiply that by some really big number, and that is the scientific definition nowadays of a second. So there you go, folks. Those are the only facts I could come up with for the number 55, because this is TrampCast episode 55. We move on. The thank yous. This is usually a favourite section. So this week I had a PayPal donation from Dean M. And as we say, that ain't cheap. Finger wasn't in view. That ain't cheap. He sent a goodly amount. I'm just going to conscious that if I start reading like this, I go off the screen. So, Dean M, thank you very, very much for your kind donation. So this week I had a visit from Mark, who has only just got back. I think I mentioned last week Mark was due back in the country, or just arrived back in the country. Hasn't been around here for 10 or so months. He had to go back to the UK following a bereavement, and then a few issues of his own that prevented him coming back. But Mark's back, and he's paid a couple of visits this week. He came around and brought me a bottle of beer, always a good move. But he also had a shopping trolley. He's going to look into repurposing a shopping trolley as a set of wheels for Tina, help her get around a little bit more freely. I got more on that. I found an elasticated belt that I've tied around her waist, and that I can kind of help support her, or at least prevent her from falling over, or her back from swaying around too much. So we're a little bit more mobile towards the back end of this week. Who else do? Oh, thank you. Did you see the video? The thank you to Pat and Sue. Absolutely phenomenal. Three shopping bags full of odds and ends. Well, not all odds and ends. Some fantastic stuff. Unopened packs of cheese. Tina, can you stop? Oi! Oh, and there you go. Not only are you demolishing the place, you're now emptying your water all over the floor. Damage and destruction, or death and destruction? I suspect she'll be the death of me, but we shall wait and see. So, Pat and Sue, everybody, I just want everyone to just give a thumbs up for Pat and Sue, and maybe a shout out in the chat. Thank you very, very much, ladies. I had a pot of water on boiling, and I stepped outside of. I heard voices, and I suspected English. And while I was making my coffee, I was going to say hello, but when I looked, they weren't going down the track. They were coming down through the field carrying these bags, and so I didn't want to be presumptuous and assume that they were coming to bring me things. They might have been coming through the field for some other reason, but no, they came and talked, and then I made a video, didn't I, and got Sue's name wrong, because I'm like that. I'm terrible with names. I'm terrible with faces. Until I've met you half a dozen times, I will get names and faces all wrong all the time. It's just a real weakness. But Pat, Sue, and Sue came back and brought me a warm meal afterwards. There are some good people left in this world, and I meet more than my fair share of them, and get more than my share of help from people. Absolutely. Also this week, Tom, my friend Tom, came around, as he often does, and he brought beer, obviously. Good company. We sat and chatted for an hour, maybe not an hour and a half. It was getting a little bit cool by that time. Maybe an hour or so. We sat and chatted, but he brought me a warm meal, a hot meal in Tupperware. So thank you, Tom. As I said, Mark came around a second time, and this time with Colleen, who came around and brought me the English language newspaper again. I like to do the Sudoku and the crosswords and the little quiz. There's one that's like half Spanish, half English. They mix and match the clues in the crossword. It's a bit of fun. But she also brought some Tina doggy food. So yeah, thank you, Colleen, again. Thank you. And unless I'm missing anything, I think that's the thank yous for this week. I know I'm going to be seeing Karen in the next day or three. Probably. Don't want to presume, but she is here. Yeah, that's it for this week, folks. Now, we'd normally at this point do themes for the week, and I can't really think of any. I mean, I haven't seen mice. I know the buggers are here, and I still haven't got any traps, but I'm finding their droppings in places I don't want to be finding them. Buggers. I had a pack of cheese in the bedroom. I'd made a sandwich in bed on the chopping board, and I just put the cheese down and put the margarine on top of the cheese so nothing could get at it. And then they've got at it, and there's buggers have nibbled Nibbled the cheese. The Fuck. How have they done that within like a metre of my head? Oh, fucks. I shouldn't smile. I got that growing. Yeah, I've got that admiration for them, even though I hate the little fuckers. But what do you do? If I kill them, then I have the torture of dealing with death, and now I've taken a life. If you look back at previous videos, I didn't handle that too well. I mean, it wasn't like devastating, but it was tough. I don't like taking a life. Yeah, but other than that, no real themes for the week. The weather's been fairly standard. We had a few cold nights. The beginning of the week in particular were cooler nights. Warmed up towards the end of the week. So that hasn't really been an issue. No rain to speak of. Maybe a few minutes one day. No, so no real issues, folks. Nothing much to say has dominated the week or been a like an overriding concern. I gotta say, I want to thank you guys as well. Last week I really enjoyed the TrampCast. Now I think because it was longer, I think people look at the length when the video is presented to them in YouTube. They look at it and see 3.5 hours and think, no, too much, and people are less likely to engage. But I really enjoyed the questions and answers in chat last week. That was really good. Really enjoyed last week's TrampCast. Let me just have a quick swig of coffee. I mistimed getting ready today, folks. I was almost late. I made coffees like an hour or an hour and a half before TrampCast, and it took me a while to drink them. And then I made another coffee for now, but yeah, I put my schedule off a bit. Okay, folks. At only 17.5 minutes in, we're about to begin the week proper. Flying through it. Because there isn't much. It's been a quiet week. There's probably not really been that much to talk about. So maybe this will be a quick episode and we won't hang around too much. So as I was just saying, last Sunday, really did enjoy the TrampCast 54. It was one of the most enjoyable ones for me, from my perspective, sitting in this chair and just answering your questions and trying to crack on with getting into the week itself, but getting held up. But it was fun. Now, immediately after the TrampCast finished, it took me about a half hour to dismantle this stand and put everything back where it goes. I have to take the laundry bin has to go outside because that's my coffee stand. That's where I make my drinks, and it's kind of a table when I'm preparing food. So that has to go outside. It's in the way if it's left inside. I've got things that I've taken off this chair that I have to bring back out and put back here. All that malarkey. Taking my lights through to the bedroom, or putting the lantern, which tends to be the first light that I resort to when we do this, and it starts to get that little bit dark. Put that on to charge for a couple of hours afterwards, just to top the battery back up, so I can use it through the night. So yeah, all of that, moving everything, just the logistics of dismantling everything, putting everything back, and then taking the doggy for a walk because she started to whimper again at the end. Even though she'd only just been walked immediately beforehand, she didn't complete the full cycle of ablutions, so she held some back for later. Bugger. Okay, so that was Sunday, just into bed, and oh, okay, yeah, I made some food. Yeah, on the way back after walking the dog. That's where I had one of those packs of dried tagliatelle and sauce. Supposedly, it's a carbonara with tagliatelle, except it was the thinnest, weediest spaghetti instead. Really thin, quite short. So yeah, I it was just to put it in the pan and add water and heat some water up, and then add the powder and the pasta into the hot water. It was okay for what it was. It just wasn't what it said it was on the pack. I was kind of looking forward to something more tagliatelle-esque. I'm sure that's not a word. But that was it then, guys. Into bed, eat my food, and just watch videos. And as I think I said last week, I've been watching Elementary, the American Sherlock Holmes modern day program. I quite like it. Quite good. Entertaining enough. Towards the back end of the week, I've also started downloading Person of Interest, which is a slightly more action orientated show. But yeah, gotta keep myself entertained, otherwise I'll go stir crazy. Which was why I appreciate Colin bringing me the newspaper so that I can do the crosswords and the quizzes. And I think Anthony last time he was over gave me a crossword book as well. So that's always fun. Keep my mind occupied a little bit. So into Monday morning, and it's an overcast start to the day. But while we're lying in bed, huge claps of thunder, like rolling. You know when it goes on for like 15 seconds. And I put my head outside and I thought, well, it was overcast, but it wasn't. It didn't look stormy like that. So it threatened to rain for a while, but never really did it. I think this is where I said we had a bit of spitting just for 5 minutes of something. You know, when you're in a tent, the noise is magnified. Any bit of rain sounds quite violent. And then you walk outside and you're like dodging the raindrops. They're so few and far between. That was Monday morning. But Tina obviously doesn't like the thunder. She does not like the loud bangs. So she was shaking. She was on the bed shaking and drooling, and so you know, I got to cuddle my doggy and just reassure her for maybe half an hour or an hour. The thunder was on and off, but such is life. So let's have a look. What else that morning? Oh, this is where fairly early on, fairly quickly on Monday morning, YouTube had finished processing the TrampCast with chat playback. So if you watch it on Sunday night, you can watch the entire stream, the entire show again, the entire broadcast, but not with chat. Chat isn't there to replay. It really is best watched with chat replay. So Monday morning I did that and watched it back, and again, you know, enjoyed myself just watching it. Went outside after that and reorganized my coffee stand. I mentioned last week, got no coffee left. Well, I dug out a couple of little jars of decaf, probably from 2 years ago, that have been sat in the back of somewhere, getting too warm in the tent, and they've gone really dark and a little bit acrid, kind of burnt. But I got those out. I dug out a bag of powdered milk, which I knew I had somewhere. I found that. And I dug out a bag of drinking chocolate, powdered hot chocolate. Turns out I've got 3 bags. Tina girl. Tina. Hey babe. It's okay. Tina's okay. They've just stole the car. It's okay. Tina. It's okay, babe. So yeah, it turns out I've got 3. Tina. Enough. Turns out I've got 3 packs of drinking chocolate, fairly big bags. Decanted some into a jar. No, I didn't put the chocolate in a jar. I put the chocolate in a, you know, there was, are they 500 grams or 1 kilogram? The Greek yogurt pots. I got one of those filled with hot chocolate, and I've got one of the jars that beans came in, cleaned out, and that's full of the powdered milk. So I've got a full station set up out there, except for when I bring the laundry bin in. Everything's set up there for me to make my my coffees or teas or drinking chocolates, whatever it is that I have to hand. Nice warm drinks get me through the night or get me going in the morning. So did that, reorganised all that, knackered my back in again because picking boxes, moving stuff about. I think it's going on a month now that I've had a bit of an iffy back. Did you hear me when I was doing the when I did the thank you video to Pat and Sue when they brought that food round and I was bending over to get the things out of the bag and I was kind of puffing and panting and it's because I couldn't bend down properly. I was in a bit of discomfort. It sounded like an old man reaching down to pick things out of the shopping bags. Such is life. So basically, guys, those are the events of Monday. That and just watching more videos in the tent and just taking Tina out periodically, and yeah. Oh, at night. Oh, this was a good meal. This was a good meal I made at the end here. Timony, hello mate, hello. This was a good meal. Monday night. This was good food. This. I had. I took my pan, the pan that I eat out of, so I was only making one portion of this, and I half filled the pan with onions, chopped the onions, and gave them a good caramelizing, give them a good frying, got them compacted down and nice and brown. Then I added a bit of chorizo and half a can of mushroom soup, and the idea was going to be that I would then add some pasta that I've got out there into the meal. Hello, Stephanie. Stephanie in Canada, if I remember correctly. So here I am, guys. I've got my onions nice and caramelized and fried in the bottom of the pan. I've added chorizo, and then I've added half a tin of mushroom soup, and I'm supposed to be adding some tagliatelle type pasta in there, but there's no room for it. I've already overfilled the pan, so I have to just have that as my meal. And I mean, it was lovely, it was gorgeous, but I'm left with half a tin of mushroom soup that I'm going to have the next day. But it was a lovely meal. Oh yeah, there was I had a few chickpeas. That's right. That's why a few chickpeas and beans went in as well. That's why there was no room for the. So onion, caramelized onion, chorizo, mushroom soup, and a few chickpeas and beans that were left over from the curry that I made one day recently. 20 centimeters of snow in one night. That's phenomenal. Is it so? I bet it's so cold you can't even make a snowball though. Yeah, once it gets past something like -10, you can't compress the snow and make a snowball or a snowman. That takes the fun out of it. Okay, so Monday night. Oh, filled hot water bottle, yeah, because I've got the pan on to cook, to make the food. When I'm doing my little pan, I have to put a metal rack across the top of the stove. The ring on the stove is twice as big as my little pan, so I can put a grid over the top, a rack over the top, put the pan off to one side, and put another pan next to it to heat the water for the hot water bottles. Only -2 right now. That's through the day though, yeah? Oh yeah, you run around through the day and do snowballs and make snowmen. That'd be nice. Okay, so yeah, I did hot water bottles. Monday night into Tuesday morning, 5 a.m. dog walk. Okay, you can still make snowballs below -10 provided the moisture content's right. Oh, Timmy likes the caramelized onions. Below +10. Now I'm lost, Thomas. Now you've lost me. So you can't go below -10. Let's have a look. Where am I? I am 5 a.m. dog walk, because obviously Tina. If she can pick an awkward time, she will. And she was, for some reason, this day, she was a little more stable on her feet. So she decided that it'd be okay to walk all the way to the cliff tops, which we haven't really managed much at all. But suddenly she can. 5 o'clock in the fucking morning, and I haven't got my camera with me. And we turn the corner and look over. There's a slight incline to the top of the cliffs, and then obviously down to the sea. But above the cliff top was lit up all the way along the horizon. Above the, it looked almost like daylight at 5 in the morning. And when I got closer and looked, I think it was a row of fishing boats. There was 14 huge masts with really, really buck-off bright spotlights shining down on the sea. It lit the whole sky. I assume fishermen, because the fish come towards the lights, don't they? And also, I guess when you're holding the nets in, you want to be able to see what you're doing. Timmy's asking, how do I generate electricity? Solar power, my friend. I've got a 100-watt solar panel and an EcoFlow River 2, which stores the power and then dishes it out in 5-volt USB, 12-volt cigarette adapter, and 220-volt alternating current. So normal mains output I have available to me, and have had for the past, it'll be about 11 months now, maybe 10 or 11 months I've had that available. And in Spain, there's always sun, there's always some sunshine. Okay, so fishing boats and lights, yeah, 14, there was 14 really strong lights and a whole host of other ones all around. I thought it was the aliens at first, I thought it was an invasion. But yeah, just funny that Tina picked that night to go out. It's just funny that she suddenly had enough strength and coordination in her legs to make it to the cliff tops, but without any additional support or anything. Especially, as I said, as later in the week, I've developed a new system for helping support her. Tina, that's enough. It's just a car going past. She's kind of getting worse. More protective, more... Did you see in the video the other day? Was it... I think it was in the curry video, wasn't it? Where she was saving me from the evil that is buses. When there's a bus up on the top road, and it's like 100 meters away, she's defending me from the evil that is a public transport bus. She's just getting louder and louder, defending me against nothingness. And yet when a mouse runs through the bedroom, fucking not a peep from her. She sat there while some mouse has tried robbing my cheese the other night. She doesn't care. But a bus on the main road, 100 yards that way, she's all over it. Okay. So yeah, so while I'm out walking and we're on the cliff tops, the weather forecast says it's 8 degrees. No, I didn't see a weather forecast. I got inside and my thermometer said it was 8 degrees inside the tent. But as I came into the tent, I felt how much warmer it was in here compared to outside. And then as I stepped into the bedroom, it was warmer in there than it was here in the tent in general. So the fact it was 8 in there and had been warmer and warmer, it had to be 5 degrees or lower outside. What have I just missed? Yeah, I don't know what it is that she thinks she's seeing, but yeah, she's out there defending me from something. But yeah, so it must have been a cold night though. But I was toasty warm because I'd got my hot water bottles that I'd made when I made the food earlier. So very late start to the day. Woke up at 10 o'clock and didn't get moving till 10:30. I guess because we'd been out at fucking 5 in the morning. And if we've gone that far and come back, we've got to have been out for at least half an hour, maybe 45 minutes. And I would have just been in t-shirt and shorts still. Fucking 4 or 5 degrees, middle of winter, and I'm standing on a cliff top in the wind with my doggy in a t-shirt and shorts. I think I saw Karen say something before and I didn't respond. Sorry, Karen. I think you said you were going to bring me some coffee. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Cheers. Okay, where are we? We're on Tuesday still. We're on Tuesday. I don't get started until 10:30. Oh, this was the day. Okay, I said I might film a day in the life of my EcoFlow. We didn't do much, but just the routine. Getting up, checking how low, how discharged it is or not, putting the solar panel out, monitoring through the day, charging a few of my batteries for my head torch and various lights and things. I mulled over the possibility of cooking some lentils that day, but it would have needed a little bit more preparation. I hadn't got ready for it, so maybe I was going to do it the next day. Realised I didn't have enough water to be cooking lentils. Actually, I mentioned last week how low on water I was. I've had to pilfer water from the tent. I mentioned that I was on my last bottle of water that was like my water, or mine and Tina's water, for drinking and using, but that we had bottles of water that were holding the tent in place. Guy lines were tied to and things. But I've had to rob some of those because we would have run out of water otherwise. So yeah, so I decided not to cook lentils, but I've got a slow cooker. I've got the gas stove for doing stuff more speedily when I want to just do stuff. Although that curry that I cooked took hour and a half, 2 hours. It's not exactly speedy, but most of the time was caramelizing the onions and then frying the chorizo. After that, it was just straightforward. Carrots and parsnips, and then the beans and liquid, the aquafaba, a little bit of water, stock cubes and flavourings, and just cook it up. Most of the ingredients were already cooked, basically. It's only the carrots, the onions, carrots and parsnip were the only things that really needed. You drank the tent pegs. Tent pegs are a bit iffy here, Tim. What happens is in the summer, the ground is so hard, the tent pegs bend in half before they get in the ground. In winter, the ground is so soft that your 45-degree tent peg that's got the line pulling on it, and when the wind blows, the ground's so soft, the tent peg just stands and gets yanked out of the ground. It's kind of betwixt and between. It's either too hard or too soft, and there's not much time where it's just good for the pegs. I think we dropped lucky last year when we put the tent up, when we took the old one down and put this up, because we did it, I think, the first week in March, which is probably just on the cusp of winter's kind of over and rock hard summer hasn't arrived yet. You've probably just got a month in the middle where you can use tent pegs properly. Once they're in, I mean, some of the ones that went in back then are still in. Well, they came out once when the policeman pulled them all out, bastard, when he was shaking the tent and trying to break the tent. But after I put them back in that night, most have stayed in since then. This side, where we took a broadside from the wind, they all popped back out. Ground's a bit softer this side. But yeah, such is life, folks, such is life. Let's, yeah, difficult to find the sweet spot for when to put the tent pegs in. If you can get them in before summer turns the ground to concrete, you're good for most of the year then. Even winter, they'll kind of more or less hold, mainly. Where was I, folks? Where was I? Okay, Wednesday I'm filming Tuesday I'm filming a day in the life of the EcoFlow. So for anyone who doesn't know, if there's anyone out there, what's this EcoFlow he keeps talking about? Imagine a generator, but without the petrol or diesel engine. You just connect your solar panel to it, or connect it to the mains, top up the battery, stores the power as DC power in the battery, but then can convert it to 5 volts USB, 12 volt cigarette lighter adapter for a car kind of setup, or 220 volts alternating current. Gives you all the power you need. I got a 100-watt panel, and that more or less gets me everything I need. A little bit tight on power at times in winter, but not often. If you get 2 or 3 days without the sun, then I'll run out. But it's happened once, twice, and not for long. You just hang on till the sun comes out again and you're away. From empty to full, because I've got the smallest EcoFlow River 2, which is, I think it's about 250, 260 watt hours of power it stores. It will fully charge in 3 hours from empty. So yeah, that's how I power things. That's why I'm the king of the tramps. I've got a TV, I've got fans, I've got hair clippers, beard trimmers, did I say slow cooker? Yeah, all sorts. Oh, electric blanket. Don't forget the electric blanket from a couple of weeks ago, thanks to Adam and Mel. Yeah, I'm doing all right for a guy who started off with 2 holdalls and a carrier bag of stuff for his dog, who arrived in this field and got flooded out on the first day. I've built back better. Let's not do politics. So yeah, okay, where am I? Filming the day. So just basically all the silly little interactions I had with the EcoFlow through the day, I filmed them. Haven't released this yet, and I'm not sure it really tells a story, but I might release it in the next few days if I can build some narrative or something into it. Would have been better if I'd done a proper cooking, if I'd made some jacket potatoes or something with it. Am I stopping in Spain for the weather? No, I'm stopping in Spain because they won't let me leave. And I can't get access to my money and can't leave even if they'd let me leave. Long story, TrampCast 001. All your questions about me are answered there. TrampCast 001. Use the search function after we finish here. Use the search in YouTube. You'll find it, no problem. Okay. See, I'm saying all this about starting to film a life in the EcoFlow, and we haven't got going yet. We've hardly got out of bed. So the usual thing, put the solar panel out, obviously film that as part of the video, but then on with the normal things. The dog walk, the morning dog walk. There always has to be a morning dog walk unless we've been out in the middle of the night, kind of 4, 5, 6 in the morning. Then we might not have to rush out at 8, 9, 10. But otherwise we do. And then obviously coffee and what have you. And again, into the tent for most of the day. And this is where Mark comes around, I think mid-afternoon. Mark came around, he brought a litre bottle of cold beer. Always good, like a cold beer. I went so long without beer once upon a time. Sorry, those of you that have been here a while, you'll get sick of hearing these reminiscences, these tales. But when I moved into this field in the October, a few years ago, whenever that was, I'd not had a beer for I'd already been homeless for 4 months. I'd not had a beer in all that time, and I was dreaming of having a beer at Christmas, of being able to walk into the supermarket and buy and buy like a 12 pack of, 12 cans of beer, because they were only €2.60 at the time, 2.60, and I didn't have €2.60 to spare at any point, not even for Christmas, to buy beer. But I did find a bottle of vodka by a bin, a litre bottle of vodka that someone was throwing out, that only had about that much out at the top. And it had the valve, the pouring valve in the top. So you knew that no one's put anything nasty into the bottle. It was just somebody must have given up for Christmas or something. Or maybe someone bought it and was leaving the country, and they just put it next to the bin by the garage, top of the road here. And I found that maybe 3 weeks before Christmas, but made it last through Christmas and New Year. Bottle of vodka. There was, if I remember right, it's a litre bottle, but there was maybe a quarter of it gone. There was about a normal bottle's worth, a normal 750ml, something like that. And that was my alcohol for that entire Christmas. But I was dreaming about being able to buy beer. I don't know. Somebody asked something, sorry, I was too busy reminiscing. That was actually a really good Christmas in some ways, even though I didn't even have a roof over my head at that point. Are you far from a town stroke city? I'm in one, really. I'm not right in the centre, but yeah, there's buildings continuously from here to the town centre. Yeah, I'm in a city. But I'm on a bit of spare land near the cliff tops. Okay. So Mark visited and brought me some cold beer, and he brought a like the frame of a shopping trolley. Basically, he's looking into the possibility, I think I mentioned at the top of the program, he's looking into the possibility of working. You've seen dogs with wheels where their back legs are, and sometimes it's for dogs that have got double amputations or something in their legs, but Tina's back legs aren't as functional as they were. But he's looking into how we might, or how he's much more like mechanically minded, and he's much more practical than me. I was never good at anything when it came to my hands. You could let me loose with a screwdriver inside a computer case, but that was it. Other than that, I was kind of banned. The wife wouldn't let me touch anything in the house. You wouldn't let me near electrics except inside a computer case, where I was a wizard. But there you go. Where are we? So Mark's around. He's got these wheels, and we have a conversation. He takes them away again so that he can look at whether or not it's practical or viable, and whether he's got the time to do it. No pressure, Mark. If you're out there and watching, just as I said, I've got this elasticated belt, very slightly elasticated, but it's fully adjustable. Got that around her waist, and now I can, with the spare, because she's not as fat as me, with the spare I can hold her up and support her back end, so that like when she goes to the loo now, she's stable. She's not falling left or right or down and into it. I can hold her up in position off the ground above it, and we can walk more easily, as we did this morning. I'll tell you about that shortly. When we get to it, folks. At the minute, we're still on, I don't even know what day we're on. We're on Tuesday afternoon, and Mark's here, that's right. Well, when Mark leaves, I get myself a hot coffee and some hot food, because I just had a real run of making things with this food. So this time, it was fried onions, the mushroom soup, and pasta. So again, I caramelized my onions in my bowl. I'm only making a single portion, so it's my eating bowl that I'm cooking in, my eating pan. Like I said, a small pan is just a bowl with a handle, and it's perfect for just hold the pan and eat. So cook it in the pan, which we're making just a single portion. So that's what I did. Caramelized my fried onions, poured in the other half a tin of mushroom soup, a little bit of water because I'm putting pasta in, and it needs to. The mushroom soup's very thick and clarty anyway. You couldn't take much moisture out of that to cook the pasta with. You need to add a little bit of water. So that was that, and very nice it was too. Obviously, I'll let Tina finish the last little bit because she always does. She always gets to test and give her seal of approval. Again, I think while I was out there, how did we do it? I had lots of power. Yeah, that's right. I had lots of the EcoFlow was fully charged. It was due to be sunny the next day, so I considered using the electric blanket that night. So I didn't do the hot water bottle thing. I thought I might do the electric blanket. But actually the night was slightly warmer, and because I'd eaten warm food, I just had that heat going on inside me. Didn't bother with the electric blanket that night. Midnight Tuesday into Wednesday. There's movement in the tent. Something's in here, and it's not being subtle about it. So up I get out of bed and start chasing, head torch on and start chasing, banging and bumping, and things are scurrying about. Oh, bastards. But it settles down. But I'm still finding the droppings in places that I don't want to be finding them. You know, on this chair, on table, on the top of the coffee table and shit. Got to get some mouse traps. Drag myself off to the. I'm gonna have to get them at the Chino Bazaar here, even though I don't like the quality of his products. So yeah, that was midnight. That was midnight. That was the excitement for the night. I was awake on and off most of the night. Wednesday morning, I get coffees and come inside, and I'm laying on my bed, and somebody walks right past the tent. Like Pepe will walk a little bit over, like a few meters that. Somebody walked right past the tent. I was a bit slow getting out of bed and putting my shoes on and kind of giving chase. By the time I came out, he was at the other side of the field. I just saw the back of his head. Fairly sure it wasn't Pepe, the Spanish guy in the tent over the back of the field in the other side of these trees. Freaked me the shit out though, because people ordinarily, 99 times out of 100, the only people that are walking down through this field are coming to me. Someone visiting me, a friend, or someone bringing, like the two ladies, Pat and Sue, bringing a delivery, bringing, you know, a donation. For someone to just walk down here and walk like so close to the tent, I usually think it's someone casing the joint. If they get here and they don't hear people or dogs, maybe they'll stick their head in and see what's going on and see what they can have. Had that a couple of times with, and both times I think they were English blokes. Oh, all right, mate. Yeah, have you seen Johnny? I'm like, who the fuck's Johnny? Oh, maybe he's the other tent. And you're like, yeah, it's a likely story, lad. I believe you. You know, but if they stuck their head in and there was no one here, if I'd been out walking the dog, what might have happened? You don't like to kind of judge and assume, but so far I've been so lucky, never had anything stolen, except by the police. Has anybody, am I missing any comments? That happens sometimes. It was Tim Timony. Mushroom soup, caramelised onions and pasta was delicious. Do I enjoy sports to watch or play? I used to love football. I'm out of it now. I just haven't seen it in so long. Sound, is there a problem with sound, Derek? What's wrong? Crackly? I can't help that. If you need me to be closer to the microphone, I can try. Let me know what's what. If you're getting no sound at all and everyone else is, maybe refresh. Oh, yeah, you see, I've missed loads of comments here, look. Christmas, 2/3 of a bottle of vodka miracle. It really was. It felt like it to me at the time. Yeah. Assassin skin shaped. Okay. Okay, I think that's me caught up. I think that's me caught up. So where were we, folks? Where were we? We were on to Wednesday morning. We'd done the midnight thing, hadn't we? So Wednesday morning, I finished first thing. I took stock of where we were with the EcoFlow, how much power had gone overnight on charging. My phone and my tablet are the big power drains day to day. The phone has to be charged 3 times a day. Tablet kind of once fully and once on a fairly continuous drip. Tina, that's enough, sweetheart. Come here. Come here. Yeah. It's just children. It's children. It's a toddler crying as he walks past with his mum and dad. Tina! Protecting me from a 3-year-old. Okay. Listen to them. Okay, James was one of the big donators for the James and his wife were the big one of the big donors when we got the tent. The tent's dead on its feet, mate. The tent is almost no more. Even this door that I don't use, the zip is starting to break now. The roof's gone, all the holes in the wall. I mean, I've got tarps over it. As long as we don't get torrential rain, I stay dry. Moderate rain, doesn't really matter, a few drips here and there. But if, like New Year's Eve, if you go and watch the New Year's Eve with a Tramp video, we had solid rain, torrential rain, solid for 36 hours, and the tent was basically a swimming pool. My bed is 2 mattresses, 2 double mattresses, one on top of another. The bottom mattress was entirely wet, and it was starting to get wet on the bottom of the second mattress, the top mattress. Because I'm not off the ground. I'm you know. The police took away the bits of wood that I would have used, the planks that I would have used for building a bed off the ground. So if anyone's in Torrevieja and sees 4 planks about 2 meters long, okay, let's carry on, folks. Let's carry on. So I finished off. I did the status report of where we were with the EcoFlow, how much power had gone down, and then I think I put the solar panel out ready for the sun coming around, and of course that closed off the 24 hours in the day of the in the day of the life of the EcoFlow. I haven't released that video yet. As I said, I'm not 100% sure. I don't think it tells enough of a story. If I'd done more with the EcoFlow, if I'd made some jacket potatoes, baked potatoes, or if I'd made a soup or a stew, or cooked some lentils, or if I'd done something, you know, it would have drained the battery more, and then we would have seen it top up more, instead of just reaching 100% and sitting there and just charging phones and tablets and batteries. So I'm not sure whether to cut in some extra footage from another day or fudge it a little bit. See, I'm telling you this, and then you'll be the ones ending up watching the video. You'll be watching for where I fake it a little bit. Am I missing something in chat? I'll need to chip in to get Mike a new tent. I appreciate the gesture or the suggestion. I mean, eventually I will need one. I think I can get through summer with this. As long as we don't get torrential rain in. We've come through autumn. That's autumn and spring are when you get the heavy rains. Usually, you'll get, obviously at some point in winter you'll get some rain, and at some point in summer you'll get some. But you're more likely to get the biggies in that autumnal and spring. Vernal? Is that the right word to describe spring? Autumnal and vernal periods is when you get the heavy rains. They call them darners now, and they used to call them gotafria, cold drops. I can't remember what darner stands for, and it's not really. They've been trying to push that. The officialdom have been trying to push that word. All the press swallow it up and use it. Normal people still say gotafria, as far as I can tell. No, Tina, no. If I have to say no one more time, there'll be trouble. Shush. Good girl. Good girl. Yeah, that's better. Okay, where am I, folks? Where am I? We're into Wednesday morning. Oh yeah, we had the guy walk past the tent. That's right. Didn't cook lentils because, as I said before, not enough water. Oh yeah, and I commented about how I've robbed ballast from the tent. So I had water bottles that were holding the tent in place, and I've had to take those and use those for coffee and everything. Thank you for the confirmation, Stephanie. Vernal for spring. Yeah, I thought so. But I had a vague recollection of like vernal equinox. Which would probably be March 21st-ish. Your tent won't last until summer. That's possible, Karen, that's possible. If the frame lasts. I haven't put that new tarp on yet. Karen got me a big tarp that would almost cover the entire tent. If I was to put that on and peg it out wide enough, it would effectively provide shelter from rain over the whole thing. But listen, look guys, I'm you know this, if you've been here a while, you know, I'm sitting on two smaller tents that I have for emergencies. One was donated by the mysterious and enigmatic subscriber number 100. I used to say 200 because it seemed too early for it to be 100, but it was indeed subscriber number 100. Brought me a small tent. And then a bloke called Conrad not long ago brought me another I think 2 or 3 man tent. I could always, if this really just fall apart, I could always switch to 2 small tents, one for me and the dog and one for belongings. Although the mice, if they did get in, would run wild undetected. Tina girl, you're doing damage and destruction to your own eating bowl. You've finished your food. Let's how fig leaf will travel. Here's the girl. Here's the girl herself. She was just pawing and clawing at her eating bowl there, and looks like she was trying to break it. She's been fed already, just immediately before the show, fed and watered, so she's got no real excuse for misbehaving. Hey babe, you got to be a good girl. Okay, let's crack on, folks. We're on an hour. My coffee is warm, not hot. Warm. Cools quicker once you're halfway down and then you leave it sitting. Okay, robbing ballast from around the tent, yeah. Quiet day, guys. Nothing much happened. I think it was a warm day, but I wasn't in the mood for sitting out in my chair and waving and being cheery and saying hello to everybody. Some days I'm just, you know, I'm just not on for it. And the hit and miss, you know, you get the people who are friendly and wave and say hello back, and then you get the ones who sit in their car and just look forward, don't look at the tramp, don't look at the tramp, whatever you do, don't acknowledge that there's somebody there. And the people who walk past with the same attitude. Tina will sit by her bowl when it's got food, but not often. She stays on the bed when we're inside, and when we're outside, she's got a bush that she likes to try and get under. She's kind of constantly digging it out and trying to get under. There was another bush, but if you see the video, the curry video, I think it was a curry video, where I've put a windbreak around the stove where I'm cooking to block the wind off. Well, I've blocked the bush that she likes to sit under outside there. I had to, because the wind was just blowing through and blowing the stove out. When the flame is blown out on a gas stove and the gas just carries on coming, you know, there's no sensors or anything to cut it off. When it's not lit, it'll just keep pumping out the gas. Then you pull out your lighter to relight it, and that's dangerous. You don't do that. If it blows out, turn it off and leave it a few minutes. Let the gas disperse. But yeah, okay, let's get, where am I? We're on Wednesday, aren't we? We're on Wednesday afternoon and we're just inside the tent. We're just inside the tent, just letting the day pass. Videos, I play with her on the bed. We've got various toys and bits of rope and pull to me, to you, where she pulls on things. She hasn't got the strength much anymore, but we like to play little games on the bed. Or just general messing about and tickling. Hey babe, Daddy likes to tickle his girl. Yeah. So yeah, it was just a day like that, just passing time, just letting the day go by. I wasn't in the mood for anything else. Oh, this was the one, I don't know, not many people. When I put out these community posts, as YouTube calls them, I did one. It was a photo of a bowl of mashed potato with onion and chorizo. And the potato was yellow because a lot of mustard. Look, a fantastic meal. It was packet mash. It was powdered, for mash get smash kind of thing. For the Brits out there that remember the Martians, for mash get smash. We're gonna do, okay. I mentioned last week that we might do some TrampCast specials. I'm gonna do some that have got nothing to do with being a tramp. I might start doing some midweek ones that are just about, I don't know, random hangouts about old TV shows or old adverts or old, I don't know. Maybe we'll throw in a bit of science news or something. I haven't got a format worked out yet, but I'm putting stuff together in my head for stuff that's not this, for stuff that's not some tramp sat in a tent prattling on about what he did all week and what went well and what didn't. So stand by for that if anyone's interested in just hanging out with a tramp. I know that at Christmas and New Year there was a few of you hung out with me, so maybe we can do something with that. If you're not interested, Tom Baker was definitely the best Doctor Who, without doubt. Better than any of the modern ones. And I did like, I liked Tennant before he came back and got all woke this time around. I liked Tennant, but Baker, my Doctor, it's definitely Tom Baker. Tim Timoney is on for hanging out, midweek streams. Oh, my back, folks, my back. I think I was laying awkwardly on the proper hot water bottle last night. I was like, I realised there was a lump in my back, and when I reached back, it was the nozzle, of the hot water bottle. Tennant is your second favourite, Stephanie. Yeah, he was good, but it's not Baker. I like John Pertwee. Pertwee, I think he was the third Doctor, wasn't he? He was the third Doctor, with the white hair and the little yellow and black car. Bessie? Or Betty? Bessie. Tina girl, let's have some quiet. Hey, it's okay. Tina's okay. Daddy's okay. We're all okay. We're all okay. I'll keep an eye out for when I start getting too dark. I don't want to be too much in silhouette, folks. Okay, let's get this finished. So I did this post. I didn't post it until Thursday, I think. But on Wednesday I cooked some more caramelized onions and chorizo. I think it was the last of that particular pack of chorizo. Turned out I had 2 packs of chorizo in a box here, probably for 2 months. From best I can work out, maybe late October, when I put them in a box and then the box got all the stuff put on top. I've discussed... Tina, it's a supermarket trolley the kids are pulling by the sounds of it. Shopping trolley. Or cart, if you're American. Oh, and of course they have to scream, don't they? Just to set the dog off. Okay, so yeah, I put out this, what I was saying. I cooked this fantastic meal. It was gorgeous. And I released one of these YouTube posts. And as far as I can tell, it got seen by about 10 people. That's almost as, that's almost as many as my Twitter posts. My typical Twitter post gets seen by 8 people. Unless I do or say something particularly evocative. 8 people. I don't know why I bother. So yeah, my YouTube post went out and got seen by nobody. So that was kind of late evening on Wednesday that I made that food. And then 2 coffees and warmed up the hot water bottles because it looked like it was going to be a cool night again. And I watched Scruff Dog, as I often do on a Wednesday. It's a Lego stream, and he's now starting to build like a small scale replica engine is his next task, I think. But I was more in lurker mode this week. Previous weeks I've been a lot more active in chat. Too many evocative of a Sunday. Okay, mate. So I just wasn't as chatty, and I think I might have been dipping in and out as well. So I was in more of a lurker mode this last Wednesday in Scruff Dog's stream. But I should have discussed this earlier. The title of this episode, I've called it the race to 1 million. Nobody asked why. Okay. So as a joke yesterday, Scruff Dog called his stream something along the same lines. And we're both, he's probably got about 100, maybe 150 subscribers more than me. So he's basically 1,300 and something, and I'm 1,180 something, or whatever it is at the minute. So to put out a stream titled, you know, the race to 1 million is just preposterous. There's no... I guess he was taking the piss out of Clive a little bit, Big Clive, because Big Clive does have 1 million. But yeah, I figured I'd join the race and try and beat Scruff Dog to 1 million subscribers. Hey ho, that's where the name came from. But yeah, so that was Wednesday. Scruff Dog and I was in lurker mode. Now I was awake on and off Wednesday night into Thursday morning, and then I fell asleep, as I often do, 6, 7 o'clock, whatever. Next thing I know, it's 20 past 10, and Colleen has arrived at the camera. And Colleen is a friend of Mark's, who I said came around with the shopping trolley that he's going to try and fashion into some wheels for Tina. Well, they came around at 10:20 in the morning. They'd been somewhere walking Colleen's dogs, I think, and they called around, and I was fast. They were out here, and Tina goes wild, barking, and I'm, oh Tina, it won't be for us, shut up. And they're at the door already. So it was for us. Our friend Colleen arrived, brought me the English language newspaper and some dog food for Tina, some croquettes, and with some broken up meat in it, which lasted, I think, 3 days. Yeah. So thank you for that, Colleen. Certainly, yeah, I think Thursday, Friday and Saturday. She was just finishing it off yesterday. Again, look, midday on Thursday, somebody walks down right by the door and away through the field again. And this time I caught a clearer sight of the back of the guy's head, but almost certain it's not Pepe. Hasn't happened again since, but I mean, I don't own the field. I don't get to say that you can't walk through this field. But if you're going to come and stand basically in my doorway, if you're going to be so close that you're within kind of touching distance of my tent, I don't know. I'd appreciate you saying hello or saying who you are or what you're doing, or just feels a little bit weird, folks. Just feels a little bit weird. Oh, Thursday. I was keeping in touch with Karen. My mate Karen was flying out on Thursday. Karen and family were. But then she lost touch. Next thing I knew, she was at home already. I was waiting to hear whether she'd landed okay or not, or got through customs okay, and next thing I know, she's at home. Don't know if you're still there, Karen. Are you? Maybe, maybe not. Hello, Christine and the rest of the gang. Tim Timony says 1 billion and beyond, but that'd be nice. Scruff Dog, S-C-R-U-F, so Scruff but with a single F, D-O-G, Scruff Dog, all one word, no spaces. That's the name of it. That's the name of his channel, and it's his nickname as well. He's been making Lego. He just finished a Lego rifle that actually fires Lego bricks or whatever out at the end. Karen and Clan all say hello. Yeah, there's no bears here, so yeah, humans walking through the field, better than a bear, yeah. But it's wild hogs, wild boar in Spain is what you have to watch out for. I think is the main wild animal of concern. But I don't think we've got them in this area. As I said, I'm on the edge of a city. You know. Okay. Okay, this is like the highlight of the week. This is the highlight of the week. So we're on Thursday, kind of late afternoon. I've got a pot of water boiling, and I've just stepped into the tent to, I think, to get my cups. I think I've gone out and put the coffee in. I've stood there with it, with it heating up, and I think I've come inside to grab the cups and go out. I turned it off, and I came to get the cups, and I hear English voices while I'm getting the cups, picking them up. I hear English voices, and I figure, well, I'm going to be standing at the end there making my coffee. I'll say hello as they walk past. But no, they cut into the field, and I saw them come down carrying bags. And this is when Pat and Sue arrive and bring that. If you haven't watched that video, I'll put links in the pinned comment after to this week's videos and things. Wild boar sandwiches with tomato sauce or brown sauce. Yeah, I don't think they're easy to catch. They've got the tusks and everything, haven't they? The wild ones. they're vicious. But hey, Farmer, how you doing? We've got the Scruff Dog crowd arriving. The Big Clive and Scruff Dog supporters are arriving. Where am I, folks? Where am I? I'm on Thursday. Oh, Thursday afternoon when Pat and Sue arrive and bring that fantastic food donation, the 3 carry bags of food, and I'll lay it all out on the sunbed over there, and do a little video. And I've already forgotten their names while I'm doing it. I've fucked up their names. I knew one was Pat, and the other was either Liz or Sue, and I plumped for Liz, and it was Sue. And you see that in the video. But just as I'm finishing up, Sue comes back, and I found out that it was Sue. She comes back and brings me a lasagna that she's heated up for me, and brings across a nice warm meal for me. That was nice, on top of what they'd already done. Coffee, it's just instant. I only have, and I've run out now. For the last week, I've been mixing decaffeinated instant that's a bit over roasted. I think it got burnt in the tent while it's been too hot over summer, 50 degrees Celsius. It's become a bit acrid. So I've been mixing half a spoon of instant decaffeinated coffee with a good spoonful of hot chocolate powder, drinking chocolate. But it's just it's what I've got. You can only drink what you've got. You can't drink the stuff you haven't got. She's sat right next to her bowl. Yeah. Let's get through this, guys. Where are we? We're on Thursday, aren't we? We're on Thursday. We're into Thursday. Where did we get to? Someone walking past the tent. Oh, friends flying out. Oh yeah, Pat and Sue arrived and brought the delivery. Yeah, the donation. And I made a video about it, and Sue came back and brought me food, a warm meal. And that afternoon was where I got this elasticated belt. I knew I'd got it in here somewhere. I told you about how this place is like a TARDIS. Even though it's only 7 meters by 3 meters, if I put something down, it goes missing. More on that in a minute. But I dug out this belt. I eventually found it. I've been kind of half looking for it for months, and I found it. And it doesn't have the eyelets and the prong that goes through. It's just adjustable, but because it's slightly elasticated, I figured I could get it fairly tight around Tina's waist, and then all the excess that would be going around my belly, you know, when I was wearing it as my belt, I can hold that up and I can support her back end so it's not falling over off to the sides or collapsing under her. Give her a little bit more stability while we're doing what we've got to do. And so we did that on Thursday and went for a little walk, and she was fantastic. It was a revelation how different it was. The only difficulty we had was when she got stubborn and wouldn't walk. When she wanted to walk somewhere, it was no problem. But she's got a little awkward and cussed with her. But yeah, you know, since if I put something down, it's going to get lost, and 6 months later I'm going to stumble across it and think, oh shit, I forgot about that. It's happened with coats. It's happened with a tent. You know, I've got I've got 2 spare tents in here. I put them together now. 2 spare tents and 2 like survival sleeping bags off to one side as like an emergency kit if I have to get off quickly, or if this tent truly falls to pieces, and if it truly falls to pieces and I have to abandon it, I can put up the 2 smaller tents and survive and get by. For anyone who hasn't seen before, I think there's a few of you that are fairly new actually here. Here's the roof of my tent, except it's not. The roof's all gone. That's a tarpaulin spread over the frame of the tent. There's a doorway that's broken and held together with pegs when it does hold together. Right next to it, we've got a split that would have been from ceiling to floor, jammed with a black bin liner just to give a little bit of protection. Ceiling missing. This door recently, the zip started playing up. I opened it today because it was getting warm in here. Technically, still almost kind of closes. Over here, this wall is entirely missing. There's supposed to be a wall there that actually has a window in it, and instead all we've got is the curtain inside the tarpaulin. So we're falling apart, but you know, we survive. Hold on, dark. Who said it's dark? Where was that? Whoa. Broad daylight still, Tim. Yeah. For another quarter of an hour or so, it'll start doing the dusk thing any minute. I think I sat out with Tom a few days ago. I think we sat outside till about 7:15, but it was getting cold. I think it was still light-ish, but it won't be for much longer. Not for much longer. As I said though, in a couple of weeks we'll be able to do this outside. On the sunny days anyway. As long as we don't have a 3.5 hour one like we did last week. I think if we start at 5, 7:30, we'll definitely be dark still, even in a few weeks. Okay, let me find myself here. Pat and Sue. Yeah, I made a video. She came back with food. Oh, the new technique for walking Tina with the elasticated belt. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, the big difference was how far she could walk, but also how stable she was while she was doing the necessary, peeing and pooing. She wasn't falling over left and right while doing it or collapsing into it. I was able to just. It's not like I'm picking the whole dog up. It's when you're spotting for someone who's doing weights at the gym, you don't grab the entire bar and lift it off them. They carry on pushing and you just coax them that little bit extra that they need. That's all I'm doing. I'm just giving that little bit of extra support to her so that she's not falling over and falling into her mess. So we go back to the tent after she's had her walk. Like I say, it was a revelation. But I do a rough edit. I've got 3 videos queued up, or I had on the Thursday afternoon or evening. I've got 3 videos kind of queued. I got the curry where I made the chickpea and chorizo curry. I've got a day in the life of the eco flow, and another one that I can't remember. The thank you to the 2 ladies, Pat and Sue. That was that day, wasn't it? So I did the rough edit. I stuck all the clips together and deleted obvious rubbish, but not a finished edit. You got to go back through and just trim and tidy it all up a little bit. But that evening was just that rough edit. Oh, you see there, I've just struggled to remember what the 3 videos were. I wrote it down on my notes. I should have just read the notes, shouldn't I? Dickhead. I don't know. Settle into bed, folks. Okay, get this. I've been homeless 2.5 years on the 14th. On Valentine's Day. We're going to do a special definitely for that. What day is that? 5 days from now. So that'll be... Is that Friday? Depends how the numbers work, doesn't it? Add 5, yeah, 14th. Friday, I think. I'll do. You guys have all got lives. You'll all be off out elsewhere doing what you're doing. But I'll try and do because it's 2.5 years of being homeless, and it'll be 2 years and 4 months in this field on the 10th of February. But this. I'm settled down in bed, 10 o'clock at night. It's dark outside. I'm just getting settled, cuddling the dog, trying to stay warm, and preserve what heat there is in the bedroom there. And we hear a vehicle park up this road, up this track, but up the track, but further down than most people would normally park. And we're like, oh fuck. Then we hear Spanish voices, and if you've followed my playlist, Tramp versus Police, or whatever the hell it's called, with me and the Guardia Sizzle, with Zeds. Guardia Sizzle. I did like that pun at the time. It's a little bit infantile and puerile. But it's a bacon pun, isn't it? Guardia Civil versus Guardia Sizzle. Anyway, I got that whole playlist of me and the police. So here I am. I hear a van pull up. I hear voices. I hear people coming into the field, and I hear Spanish being spoken. And in my head, it's the police. And I'm struggling to get out the bed, get past the dog, get her to stay on the bed or whatever, get out, undo all of these clamps and things that I've got on the door at night. So here I am struggling to get out, and I hear rojo. And I'm thinking, red. And something red, and I can't make out the first word. There's another word and then red. And I get out, and I've got my head torch on, so I'm clicking the torch on. I'm looking at dogs in full protective mode, barking at them and protecting her alpha, protecting the leader of the pack. And or her daddy, as I would call it when I'm trying to be cute. But no, Cruz Roja, or Roja, or Rojo, Cruz Roja, I think. Red Cross. 2.5 fucking years I've been homeless, and suddenly they find me. And they're all concerned, and oh, is everything all right? Oh, what language? English or Spanish? Oh, English preferred. And they bring forward the person who speaks the best English, and oh, are you okay? Yeah, fine, yeah. I've been here 2.5 fucking years. What do you want? Do you need anything? Do you need a hot drink? I'm sat inside with 2 cups of coffee, and I'm about to break into a bottle of limoncello. You know, the lemon and cream alcoholic drink that the ladies brought. I've got a gas stove out there where I've been cooking curry and soups and stews and pastas all week. I got a solar panel and a slow cooker where I can make jacket potatoes or whatever else I want. I got lights and batteries, and I got all the power I need. After 2.5 fucking years, they ask, do you need anything? No. Now, if you had asked me 2 years ago, when I was here and didn't even have a tarpaulin over my head, when all I had was a bedroll in a field that flooded twice in the first month I was fucking here. I'm getting angry. I don't mean to be. It's very nice of them to come and offer. It's just 2 years too late. I've got a vegetable rack there. I've got a shelving unit that's packed with food. I've got 3 or 4 other bags of food and stuff in the cool box, and I've got my Christmas tree. I've got my TV. I've got my electric blanket. Now, why did they suddenly find me? Has somebody said, hey, there's this guy here, go see him? Or did they just happen upon me? Or were they out and about because it was a particularly cold night? And I know that in the past, when it gets down to 4 degrees, they open up these emergency centres in town. I was never able to find where they are or where one is. And I've got a dog, so probably wouldn't be accepted anyway. And I've got a nice spot with a tent, and I'm well set now. But for all those months, I guess, all those weeks and months, when I was struggling to get by, nothing. But now, I don't know, it's just funny, but not necessarily in a good way. I was a little bit. I thanked them for the offer as they left. You know, a cheery wave and you know, muchas gracias. But there is still just a little tinge of bitterness, would you say? I sound like an ingrate. I don't mean to be that harsh about it, but no, I'm missing comments. That's when you ask for sugar with your tea. You know, I acquired a bag of sugar recently. How did I do that? Oh, the guys that brought me the electric blanket. They asked if there's anything I needed, and I said water, and they went and got me 4 bottles of water from the supermarket. And as they were leaving, they said, anything else you need while we're gone? At that point, I still had coffee, but I'd run out of sugar, so yeah, they brought me sugar. And a nice bone for Tina as well, which lasted about 15 minutes. Full big meaty bone. 15 minutes to Tina. You're always left with this little kind of ankle-y piece that's thicker bone than the rest that she just can't break up. So in my bed, I'll turn over in the night and there'll be this little piece of sharp bloody bone in the bed. That's my girl. Whoa, what was that? Was that you, Tina? Or did something just break over here? What happened? A big crack, and I don't know what it was. That's not good. Okay, folks, let's crack on. We're only halfway through. Look, Thursday night, Red Cross, Cruz Roja. My notes are the rant that I've just had about 2 years ago. I could have done with a bit of help, but see, and then things really turned around when Damien and Simon got on the scene, and Damien bought me the little camp stove that I had, still have, little camp stove, even though the bottles are expensive. But then Simon bought me my first tent, proper tent. Before that, I was under six broom handles and a tarpaulin, and a homemade bed. I'm not going to reminisce too much, folks, but just suffice to say, I'm just a little bit surprised that I'm sat in bed watching YouTube videos and downloading films and things, and I'm all set, and I've got 2 cups of coffee and a bottle of alcohol, a liqueur basically, sat waiting to be opened a little later when Red Cross arrived to ask if I want anything. I don't know. Now, after they've gone and I get back into bed, this is when I noticed that the weather forecast for the next day, for Friday night, is rain, which always concerns me a little bit, because I know how unpredictable the forecast is. It starts off saying, oh, something and nothing, a little bit of rain, and then it starts raining and suddenly it's a lot of rain. Tim Timoney asks, are there any freshwater taps near you? The only taps anywhere near me are the foot wash pumps that you get at the beach, where you press the button and some water, but it's not fresh water per se, it's collected water. Rain runoff goes into a tank and just gets stored. And this is where the lucky men and people on the beach serve you a cocktail, and they've taken water out of the foot pump and everyone gets a bad stomach, and the authorities have to warn that water is not fit for human consumption. Well, I lived on it for 18 months, but I did have water treatment tablets, and when I didn't have water treatment tablets, a couple of drops of bleach, 1 drop per litre, I think it was, maybe 2. So I lived on that for, but they turned them off now at winter. The first winter I was here, so I was here for a little bit, and then so they didn't turn those foot wash things off. So I had access to water, to the point where a couple bought me a trolley for taking. I was carrying 2 8-litre bottles on my back, in a shopping bag, taking them down empty and bringing them back full. So carrying 16 kilograms of water on my back, and a dog misbehaving while we did it. So they brought me a trolley, and I was able to bring back 4 bottles at once. And so, whereas I would have done 2 trips in a day with them on my back to get 4, doing 2 trips would get me 8, and that was enough water to last me, a couple of months maybe. But they turned those off now. I think they were supposed to back then, and they just forgot that first winter. So I had a full year with that water available. I just needed treatment tablets. My notes are getting a little bit too dark for me to see, folks. So I'm getting very blue and silhouetted. So I'm gonna put that on low to begin with, and we'll turn it up as we need as we go on. I'm gonna try and crack on a little bit. I don't want this to be a 3-hour stream. So anyway, yeah, I was concerned that the weather forecast had suddenly changed. See, remember, I'm checking the weather forecast a couple of times a day, every day, to suddenly find, oh, tomorrow rain, when it's not been in the forecast at all week. A little bit concerned, but it was only going to be, 1.5 millimeters or something and nothing. But what concerns me is if that forecast reaches 2 millimeters, it can jump from 2 millimeters to 20 millimeters like that. You've suddenly got an inch of rain, which might be torrential, in a tent that's basically a sieve. So I'd like to watch those developments and see what's actually going to happen. But anyway, I make some more hot coffee and I refresh my hot water bottles. I fill them with hot water, and walk my doggy. And so that's Thursday night into Friday, and this is where I finish editing the thank you video for the 2 ladies. excuse me, Pat and Sue, who'd bought the food on the Thursday afternoon. So I finished editing that up and get it ready for release. I upload it to YouTube, fill in all the bloody details. If you've never done YouTube videos, you won't understand some of the crap that you have to jump through before you get your video uploaded and working properly. And I do all that in the middle of the night. I don't know, whatever time I wake up during the night. 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. Get it all queued up and ready to go. Set to go at 9 the next morning or whatever time it was. Tina, can we have some quiet? It's just people walking past. It's okay. Oh, it's enormous. Okay. So release that video. Obviously, right? If you've seen me I haven't released many videos recently, or I hadn't until this week. If you remember back, if you've been here a while, you'll know that when I do release a video, I'm sat there refreshing the stats in the app, in the YouTube, whatever that app's called, for the creators. I'm monitoring my stats, looking at the click-through rate and how long people are watching, and you have to wait the first 3 hours to get proper stats, but they give you some kind of little summary as things are going along. So that's basically my day. I'm just me and numbers, folks. Me and numbers, always graphs and charts and numbers, and I squeeze in the morning routine. Don't get me wrong. I still got to put the solar panel out, walk the dog, make my coffee, do that stuff. But rush back to check how many have been watching in that hour, and yeah, you know, it went quite well, but nothing too dramatic. But it was all right. It's doing a lot better now. The next day, when I released the curry video, that video of the food delivery went daft by my small channel standards. If I can get 100 views in the first day, I'm doing all right. But by the end of the second day, I got like 300. So that wasn't bad. Oh, what's happening with my nose? So where are we? We're on Friday. Okay, Friday was a warm afternoon. Oh, this is when my mate Tom came around and he brought me a small washing bowl, because I've got a washing bowl. The washing bowl that I had previously, well, that I do have, is huge though. And it's kind of, when you haven't got much water, you can't get any kind of depth. You can't, if you want to wash a few clothes or something, you've got to kind of fill the bowl so that you can agitate the water and scrub the clothes properly. So having a smaller bowl that you can have deeper, smaller and deeper, is better than bigger. I just haven't got enough water to fill that with a bowl. So yeah, it's a little difficult. This is the stage, guys, when I start doing this. Look, I'm sat back and looking down. Now I'm off the bottom of the screen, aren't I? That's what I was wanting to watch for at the start, because there was that, it wasn't last week's, the week before. I do the entire program and there's only the top half of my head on screen for most of it, because the video you ended up with wasn't what I was being shown on my screen while I was making it. That's my excuse and I'm sticking to it. Okay, let's crack on with Friday. My mate Tom comes around and brings me a washing bowl. Thank you, Tom. He also brings a hot meal. He's been to the market Friday morning, the Torrevieja market, and got the roast chicken they do, the rotisserie chicken. And he's made me a meal with that and brought that around. And also, as is our custom, he brings a litre of cold beer, which we split between us, a pint each, basically. And we sit and chat for normally an hour and a half to 2 hours, but it was a little bit later this day, and it was getting a little bit cool outside, and I could see he was getting a little bit uncomfortable. So he left that little bit, you know, that little bit sooner, maybe an hour and a quarter. But thank you, Tom. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I do like our little chats. And the food that you bring kind of reminded me of Bagpuss there for a minute. Bagpuss, dear Bagpuss, fat furry old cloth cat puss, wake up and see this thing that I bring. we'll cover this, and when we do the specials, we'll do the old TV programs, the old kids' TV programs, especially. Okay, where am I? Oh, I'm trying to read Saturday when I'm still on Friday. So again, we came. Me and Tina came inside after Tom left. Came inside for a bit, and I probably walked her at that. Oh, we walked Tom up to the top of the, because we'd got the new system with the strap. I walked with Tom up to the top with Tina, and again the only difficulty was Tina's cussedness. She just didn't want to. We'd get halfway there and she'd just stop. It's not that she couldn't walk. Sometimes she's just awkward. She wants to stop and chew a bit of grass. I guess we've been going the same ground all the time, going over new ground, going on slightly longer walks that we haven't been doing recently. She's getting new smells and passing new plants, and she just wants to explore it that little bit, I guess. It's just a little bit awkward when you're trying to walk and see somebody off and say goodbye after they've visited. But that's my girl. That's my girl. So we come back inside, and later on I make coffee and hot water bottles in time for Friday night tights, which I promptly fell asleep about half an hour or 3/4 of an hour in. Recently I've been saying that I'm going to give up trying to watch it, but I still found myself drawn to it. Tried to watch it, fell asleep. Woke up, I think about 3 in the morning, and I'd missed some messages from people, from friends wanting to kind of chat. They were asking, like, are you watching Friday Night Tights or are you asleep? And I answer at like 3:30 in the morning. Sorry, asleep. But then that was me, 3:30 and awake, as we do. So this is where I spend the night finishing off the curry video, editing the curry video. And this is a much longer video. I think this is about 38 minutes, was it? 30 something, over half an hour. And nowadays I'm recording in 1080p. So that's a big file size in the end. 4.5 gigabytes I think we ended up at. Not only that, but it's 2 lots of 4.5 gigabytes. All of the clips themselves together that are raw on the phone are 4.5 gigabytes. Tina, you're knocking the stand, darling. So you've got all the initial footage, and then you've got the joined together footage, the video that you produce. So 9 gigabytes that thing took in the end. Tina, stop it. I said stop. Now that was me. Trying to make her stop and I go and do it. Okay, let's get this wrapped up. Yeah, obviously waking up at 3 in the morning with the doggy. 3 a.m. Tina! If you do it again, I'm going to get angry. Fuck's sake. Sometimes, girl. Hey? She sat down now. Okay, where are we? 3 a.m. dog walk. Friday night into Saturday morning. And I edit the curry video. That's what we're saying, isn't it? I'm finishing off that. And it takes a while. You got to play all the way through it. It's half an hour. You're making tweaks, making edits, trimming bits. Maybe you make an edit and you end up with a bad audio bit where it clicks on the thing. You got to faff about and try and remove the bloody pop or click. And then when you're finished, you go through again, and if there's any explanation or any notes or corrections needed, put in the annotations on screen. Didn't I misspell garbanzo beans? Garbanzo. They are garbanzo. I put garbanzo in the animation on screen. And I knew it was garbanzo. I just like to say garbanzo. It reminds me of the guy off of Sesame Street. Gonzo. Or also the monkey, wasn't it, with Ronald Reagan. Bedtime for Bonzo. I think he did 2 or 3 films with that monkey. Let's see where I can put this to put a bit of light on that side. Okay. we'll try that. But yeah, I messed up the animation. I got the wrong spelling, and by the time I realised, I'd already created the video. I didn't want to sit there for another. It took about an hour to render the video, to turn all those bits and edits and things into one video. I didn't want to sit there and do that again. So yeah, we got that uploaded and did all the editing that you have to do in YouTube to be ready to release a video. Got it all ready to roll. I think I set that one to go even earlier. I think I set that one to go at 8 in the morning. I thought I might catch the back end of the US audience, anyone who stayed up late, kind of midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, whatever, American time. But you know, I think it actually harmed the video though in the end, because we're one hour ahead of the UK here, so releasing at 8 in the morning here, 7 in the UK. Nobody's watching my videos at 7 in the morning, so I got very few views in that first hour, which sends a signal to YouTube that, you know, nobody's watching this crap. So that video got off to a slow start. I think it was running as a 9 of 10. Of my last 10 videos, it was almost the least viewed for a long stretch before it started to pick up a little bit of pace. But what did happen was that the previous day's video really took off. The thank you Pat and Sue video, the one with the food delivery, the food donation, that really did well on that second day, on the Saturday. Other than that, quiet day for me and Tina here in the camp. You know, the usual stuff. Put the solar out, get the batteries charged, do what you need to do, cups of coffee in the morning, whatever. Just dog walk, usual stuff. But just that, and then into the tent and sit around and watch videos most of the day. A very quiet day. As we're getting ready for the evening, late afternoon into the evening, I look at the forecast and see it's going to be a fairly warm night, 10 or 11 degrees. So no worries about hot water bottles or anything like that. I did have half an inkling that I might put the electric blanket on for a quarter of an hour or 20 minutes at some point in the night. But I was only doing it because I had enough power to saved up in the EcoFlow. And it was going to be a sunny day, so I knew I'd get topped up straight away the next morning. So I did. I put the electric blanket on for 20 minutes, but at like 6 in the morning, when the night was more or less over. But it was nice, and it was a nice treat, nice and toasty. So it was nice to have. A little bit unnecessary, but a bit of luxury for the tramp in his tent. So that was the plan. I've gone on ahead and told you already that I did it, but before we got there, before I actually put that on, Saturday night is Big Clive, and then Scruff Dog straight afterwards. Two of my favourite YouTube channels both go live, one after the other, and deliberately they coordinate. Clive does an hour and a half, 10 o'clock Spanish time, 9 o'clock UK, does an hour and a half, and then Scruff Dog takes over literally straight afterwards, maybe with a 2-minute break in between. And these are technical people, for anyone who's thinking they might. Big Clive is electronics. He takes electrical work. He takes things apart, buys tat from AliExpress or Temu or from Poundland, buys cheap rubbish, takes it apart, decides whether it's any good or not. Scruff Dog is more mechanical. He's forklift engineer, forklift repair man. Biggest customer seems to be Amazon. Does a lot of work. I don't think he's exclusive, but he does a lot of work in Amazon warehouses. I assume in and around Baltimore, which is where he's based. So that's my Saturday night, and as I said, Sunday morning, 6 o'clock-ish, it started. This is how it started. Movement. Somewhere like not in the tent, but movement outside and voices. And Tina's barking her head off. And I rush straight out, head torch on and look around. Can't see anything. Can't see any. There's nobody here in the field. There's nobody on the little track going by. So unless they've sprinted off really quick before we got out, it may be some kind of illusion. There were people sat on a balcony up on the main road. So a good 100, maybe 150 meters away to where they are. But they were quite loud, talking on their balcony. Could have been, if the wind was in the right direction, was kind of carrying their voice in the right way, could have been them that we were hearing and that it sounded closer. The other possibility is like an electric car going past. Sometimes the engine's basically silent and you just get the odd crunch as it goes over some stones or something on the track. So if they'd got that and maybe a radio on or something, or sometimes people go by and they're on the phone and it's on their Bluetooth and the sound's coming out of their speakers, it sounds like they're here. I don't know what it was, but I ran out anyway. It's fucking freezing cold out there, and after I've done that and I'm up, Tina's already half out of bed and wanting to come out, so I take her for a morning walk. It's 6:10 in the morning, whatever time that is. When we get that done and dusted out of the way, that means I'm relaxed with her now until like noon. I don't have to get up at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. I don't have to worry about, taking care of that. It's done. She's fine for, well, technically anywhere up to 13 hours once she's gone. But I don't push it that long. I try and go out every 6 to 8 hours with her. But it's taken care of is what I'm saying. We're done. 6 in the morning, but I'm out in shorts and a t-shirt. And it's fucking cold and it's wet, your breath and the condensation everywhere. Come back in, get into bed. And this was why I figured treat myself. Just put the electric blanket on for that 20 minutes, as I'd kind of had half a plan to the night before. So that's what we did. This time I didn't fall asleep during it and cook myself like I did last week or the week before, where I fell asleep and left the electric blanket on for 2 hours, drained the EcoFlow. Oh, I'm live apparently. Apparently we dipped out and lost connection. I was just saying that a couple of weeks ago, I think it was, I put the electric blanket on and fell asleep in it with the electric blanket on, and I woke up fucking piss wet through, sweating like a who knows what. Didn't do that this week. I stayed awake, and after 20 minutes I just used the Bluetooth to turn the EcoFlow off, cut power to the plug socket for the electric blanket. All good, nice and toasty, and that took us through until the sun came up and it started to get warm, and all good. 9:30, put the solar panel out. Carried on watching Person of Interest, which I've been watching a lot of this week. I guess in previous weeks I was alternating between it was Lie to Me and The Mentalist, and I finished both of those in the same week, didn't I? So now I've moved on. Now it's Elementary and Person of Interest that are the two main TV shows that I'm downloading to watch. I'm watching an occasional film. I'm watching a lot of YouTube videos. Trying to stay clear of politics and the news. Yeah. But yeah, no, that's that quiet day watching those programs. Like, yeah, I downloaded three or four films. I haven't watched them yet. I've got those downloaded and queued up, ready to go. I'm needing to clear some disk space. I'm going to have to clear that 9 gigabytes that video took up, the curry video. All of the initial clips and then the final video. It's uploaded to YouTube now, so I can delete that. I used to want to save them, and I was putting them onto my external hard drive, but I still haven't got access to that. It needs plugging into a Windows laptop for just 2 minutes. Plug it in. It will say file allocation table error. Do you want to correct it? Yes. Click yes. Correct it. Android says error with disk. Do you want to format it? No, I don't want to fucking format it. How dare you? Am I missing chat? I got a feeling that I'm missing out. Okay, how far back do I have to go here? Look, I'm trying to get through. Oh, look, I've missed loads. And why did it not pop up? And why did I not check? Oh, look at this. Yeah, Tom bring. Okay, Tim Timony says about Tom bringing roast chicken and a pint. Indeed, indeed. You see, my arm there goes in front of the light, and you lose me a little bit. Do I have a scrub board for clothes washing? No, I don't, Stephanie. I did a video once about how I wash my clothes. It is just me down in a bowl doing this. But I haven't washed any for ages, partly because of the lack of water that I struggle with. I would use to wash just a handful of t-shirts and a couple of pairs of shorts or something. I would need 4 or 5 8-litre bottles of water, maybe more. You got to fill the bowl, wash them, empty the bowl out, rinse everything, maybe 2 different bowls for rinsing. I could end up using 10 8-litre bottles of water. But also in the past, my mate Karen, who's possibly still here in lurker mode, I don't know. My mate Karen took a few bags of washing away a couple of times and brought them back, so I reduced my need. Although at the minute everything is a bit manky. Not only have I've gone through all my clothes and they're all in a bag, all in bags, waiting to be waiting for when I've got enough water to wash. But then when the water leaked in at New Year, everything got wet, and I tried to dry some out, but taking clothes out to dry while they're already mucky and need washing, so some of them are a bit manky and maybe even a little bit mouldy. I'm not 100% sure what's going on with them. I haven't dug into the bag of dirty wet clothes for some reason. Let me go back. Is the blue tarp working to keep my tent dry? It did a good job initially. It took a battering. It took a battering in the first couple of weeks we put it on. We had 60 and 70 km/h winds battering it. Like 3 days. Oh, excuse me. Windy pops. About 3 days after we put it up, we were hit by the most horrendous fucking storms, and wind in particular. And we got it clamped on. We got these like clothes pegs, but with big fuck off springs. And over time, as the plastic's been pulled, the teeth on the clamps has kind of gone through in place and created little weaknesses, and in some places actually holes actually gone through. I've tried to tape them with duct tape, but it's done all right. It served me well. The last few times the water seems to have actually come in from underneath, which is more concerning. Some mice came up through my floor, and I think water's coming down the field and coming in under, and I'm getting puddles. And the New Year storm, New Year's Eve, if you watch that video and listen to the thunder and what have you, there was a combination of thunderstorm and fireworks. People were actually out in a thunderstorm letting off fireworks. And the thunder was so loud, the ground was shaking. I was convinced it would be picked up by seismographs, and I read up on it, and it does happen. But what they do is the figures that they release, they will look at 3 or 4 stations around each other, and if you get a minor tremor in one that doesn't show up at all in another, they rule it out as a local event, like a lorry going past or thunder, and that doesn't make it into the kind of the earthquake reports. But yet literally I was lying in bed and the ground was shaking from the thunder. When you got like a 15 or 20 or some of them like 30-second thunderclaps just rolling on with a deep bellowing, yeah. And then you've got fireworks going off and you've got a dog that hates the noise. Not fun. The first Christmas we were here, like I said, we were outside. Actually did have a tarp before Christmas, an old one that a builder had thrown away, so it has a few holes and tears in. Only 3 meters by 2. So it was just big enough to fit over a bed and tuck under. And when we got rain, we took it right under, so like we were inside a little tent, except just wrapped tight like a coffin, like, you know, wrapped tight around the bed, single bed. And but we were outside Christmas and New Year, and the fireworks did not. I mean, they go on till 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning on Christmas Eve into Christmas morning, and New Year's Eve into New Year's morning. You're looking at, well, you've got all the bits sporadic through the evening, but then when you get to 12 o'clock and it all goes, and you've got the organised firework displays, one in Torrevieja, one in La Mata, or at least one. Then you've got bars or whatever doing their own ones, and then you've got families, and then you've got kids just setting them off randomly at 2 in the morning, 3 and 4. Tina, you're kicking the... Oi! Anyway, folks, where did I get to? Oh, I was looking at chat because I've missed a lot of your Tina girl. Large gallon jugs. The supermarkets sell 8-litre bottles for 90 cents. I mean, it's not expensive. It's just awkward to carry. And if you want any volume, it's, you know, when you want in volume, it's the price aggregates, obviously, if you want any quantity, and the logistics of getting it back from the supermarket. But yeah, I mean, 8 litres is about 2 gallons, isn't it? And well, American gallons. I think you need nearer 9 or 9.5 or something for British gallons. But yeah, okay, 2 British gallons. Have I missed? I'm sure I've. Yeah, I haven't gone far enough back yet to catch everybody's. Okay, I'm back far enough. Try to see their point of view. Yeah, the Red Cross. Yeah, I do. I know that I'm being a little churly. I know. It's just it's an emotional reaction, not logical. I know. I do appreciate them asking. Why couldn't you have been here 2 years ago? That's a gallon, okay. Do you miss any food from GB? Not particularly, no. I mean, most of what I eat would be fairly standard in the UK anyway. I think someone asked last week about what Spanish food do I like, and I mean, there's nothing I don't like. There's nothing I dislike, but I don't. I was never one for going to restaurants and ordering, you know, Spanish meals really. I'd eat tapas when it's offered because that was just given away by bars. Whatever, paella's fine. I've tried squid and octopus and all of those things. Those are all okay. Wasn't too keen on sea urchin because I know what's in it. But it tasted all right. I just didn't like the idea of it. I don't know if anybody knows, but a sea urchin is basically a shell around a testicle. Inside the hollow is basically just sperm and a testicle. That's a sea urchin. So when they mush it up and make a nice salty sauce out of it and serve it to you like a delicacy, as they do, I mean, you know what I mean? Yeah, no. I ate it, to be polite, when it was presented. It wasn't bad. I mean, it's just salty nothingness, really, but I know what I'm eating. Look it up. Sea urchin is basically a testicle in a shell. I'll carry on with more questions before we get back to. I want to get. I do enjoy the questions. They've come. I've noticed them a little bit late. Is all. How far back? Hold on. Eggplant will always be aubergine. This is true. And the other one, zucchini, will always be courgette. I do just like saying garbanzo beans. The bonzo, yeah. The gonzo bonzo kind of mixture. And then there was the what was the 60s band called? The Bonzo Doodah Dog Band or something. Oh, Stephanie didn't know that garbanzo beans and chickpeas were the same thing. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We've got a few foods that we use different words for the same thing. Yeah. Cilantro and coriander, when it comes to herbs and spices and things, that's another one that that varies on different sides of the Atlantic. Okay, I'm looking through for ones that need a comment back. Farmer asks, how did that house window debacle turn out, Mike? And I've got to say, you've lost me entirely. House window. True, Big Clive does warn us when he's doing dangerous things, when he's messing with things that but still the Karens, sorry Karen, the Karens complain and get him kind of in trouble. Spanish politics or UK politics you steer clear of, asks Tim Timoney. All politics. It's just a toxic thing to get involved in. Until something affects me directly, I'm certainly not going to be discussing politics on YouTube, I don't think. I mean, America is split down the middle at the minute and ripe for trouble, really. If you have an election and you can't tolerate the result, you see, I'm starting. You got to honour the result. If you honour the process, if you agree with the process. Have you got any babbling brooks? Is that to me? Have you got any babbling brooks by you? There's no running water near us, no. Just the sea. The only inlet, there are two big lakes, but they're saltwater lakes used for making salt. Thunderstorms and fireworks concurrently. Yeah. Oh, John's here. John. Okay, John Oldwinkle. Hello, John. Didn't see you arrive, mate. Sorry. Sea urchin, got to avoid. I mean, you know, unless you like drinking sperm, basically avoid. Yeah. You know, some people guzzle that stuff. It's not my scene, but yeah, I was put in a position where someone took me to someone local took me to visit his friend in a fancy restaurant, and it was all presented. It was for free, but it was all just presented as if it was like some big delicacy. So, you know, social norms kick in, and you just gulp down what's put in front of you. But it's not so much a river inlet, a river mouth, Tim. It's a channel dug deliberately by Romans once upon a time to feed the salt lakes. They sawed 2 depressions in the ground and dug an inlet to bring water in, that would then flood the lakes, and then they turn off the water and wait for the sun to do its thing and evaporate the salt water, just leaving the salt. The only water inlet is the Mediterranean. No sea urchin, unmentionables. Yeah. Okay, folks. Where was I? I was on Big Clive and Scruff Dog. I think we got that far. No, we've got further than that. We got where I went out when there was noise outside, and I took Tina for a walk, and then there was people. There are holidaymakers sat on a balcony, and they're making noise. And then I put the electric blanket on for 20 minutes. We got through all that, didn't we? Oh, and I went off on one once I started talking about what I was watching. Person of Interest and Elementary. Elementary with Johnny Lee Miller and... Oh, Oh, the kind of Chinese lady, Lucy Liu. I got there. Probably offensive calling her Chinese because she's clearly American, but of Chinese descent, I would say, or Asian descent at least. I don't know what specific flavour she is. But anyway, yeah, good programs. I'm enjoying them. So yeah, we're powering on through here, aren't we? We're powering on through Sunday. We're almost at the end, folks. Yeah, before you took me off. So at 11 o'clock in the morning, the EcoFlow was almost fully charged, and I knew there was going to be 3 or 4 more hours of good sunshine. So I thought, let's use that power. So I did eventually. I put some lentils in the slow cooker and the tiniest amount of water that would just cover them, and put some tin foil around the top and put the lid on to try and keep a tighter seal, keep the steam in, kind of thing. And I did an hour of full power on the lentils. Then I let the EcoFlow top back up. Then I did another half an hour. And what I didn't realise was the shade had come around from the tent, and I've run the EcoFlow down to 50%. And so I ended up unplugging everything and moving the EcoFlow over the other side of the field, just to catch. I'm not happy going into a night on 50%, because if the weather forecast's wrong and tomorrow isn't sunny, I could wake up on 20% in the morning after charging the phone and the tablet all night. I could wake up on 20% and not get through the day. Let me just, so basically this moving things around, 12 p.m. I start my notes here, and that's basically the end of the week. I sit down for, if I sit down solidly, an hour and a half to 2 hours, I can have all my notes transcribed from the phone onto the paper. And I broke it up a little bit though. I do a half and a half and watch something in between. And upcoming for the week ahead, my water situation. I need to look into that. I am out. Tom's offered to bring me a bottle, but he's on a motorbike. He can only fetch one bottle at a time. We're going to have some cooler nights again this week, and there's the possibility of rain on Wednesday to watch out for. But I'm going to try and take Tina out for some longer walks, see if I can't build her muscles up a bit more, because she's been sedentary for the past few months with her decreased mobility. If I can take her out a bit more and build some of the muscles back up, give her a little bit of extra food maybe, and if I can get some wet food, some actual dog food, rather than the croquettes, rather than the dry food, see if we can't build her muscles back up a bit, and see if we go from there. So that's it. I'm just going to go back through some. I know some of you are asking questions. I'm not ignoring you. I saw them. I just wanted to get through where we were. Now, see, Karen is a beautiful name. My friend Karen, she's one of the moderators here on this channel. She's been a fantastic friend to me. So Karen isn't a Karen. It's kind of unfortunate that name has become, a cultural touch point for labeling complainy, whiny people. But there it is. Let's see where we are here. Is your mansion overlooked? There are buildings around on the main road that look over. The two ladies that brought me food are from one of the buildings nearby. There's a road down here with some buildings at the bottom. So yeah, I mean, I'm visible where I am. The bus stop going both ways. There's a bus stop on each side of the road. People in the buses can see that I'm here. And when I sit out and drink coffee in the morning, if I choose to sit out, I get seen by people driving past, walking past, people in their flats and apartments, holiday apartments. They see me. So yeah, I'm overlooked in a lot of ways. And I deliberately chose this position to be visible, knowing I would need help, making myself available for help. Can you bathe in the sea? Soap and a proper bath, Farmer asks. You can certainly bathe in the sea. You can go and loll about in the water. It's very rocky, very it's not a great stretch of beach. In fact, most of Torrevieja isn't really. The places I've mentioned in the past, the places that are beaches are shipped in. There is no natural sand in Torrevieja. everything. This is why when there's a storm and they direct the water towards the beach, and then it washes away the beach, and they go cap in hand to the central government for 8 million euros every year, 8 million euros to rebuild, to bring the sand back. Basically every time there's a storm, they have to bring the diggers and bulldozers out and backhoes and move the sand back out of the sea and back onto the beach, or onto the rocks to create a beach. So it's very iffy. I have done it once, and we tried fishing, me and Joby, when Joby was here. We tried fishing, but the rocks and the vegetation in the rocks, so every time we cast a line out, we lost the hook. We had to cut away and go again. So it's not great here. Some guys, you do see some guys fishing. They know what they're doing and where to stand and what to do. We were clueless idiots, and it was costing us hooks every time we. And the fact that you're cutting away hooks and line, I mean, that's dangerous for wildlife, isn't it? You don't want to be doing that. But bathing's possible. It would be frowned upon, I think, if you were to stand there with soap and do it in the sea. I'm okay here. I've got washcloths. I've got a little pot. I can put a little bit of water in, wet a rag. I've got soap, bars of soap, not just the liquid stuff. I was never a fan of the liquid soap. I like a good bar. Imperial leather. Karen brought me some over once upon a time. Still got loads of that. And also someone, I think Karen, gave me some of these wet wipes, these nappy liner kind of things. I don't use them for the unmentionables, but every 2 or 3 days around the armpits and you know, face, armpits, you know, with the last bit around the crotch maybe, you know. I don't use it as loo roll though. I don't use loo roll. I'm not going to get into how I cope with that side of things. Let's not go there. Suffice to say that I manage water and a good rag. Did the lentils get cooked? Not fully, because I had to cut off because I didn't want to carry the whole pot over there. The lentils are well on their way. The idea with the lentils was I was going to use them as a base in another meal, maybe tomorrow. So they're as done as they need to be for this stage of where we're at. They're softened and swollen, and you know they're well on their way, just not fully done. But that'll finish off in whatever soup or stew or whatever I do tomorrow. Do the churchyards have water? I don't know. I've never seen it. I haven't been in a churchyard. There are churches in the town centre, but they don't really have church. There's not really a yard or whatever around them. They're not like in the centre of a cemetery. Thomas Erickson says it's ridiculous. I'm not sure what you were referring to there, Thomas. I don't know if you're still here, mate, and can clarify. Okay, where are we? Karen. Oh, Farmer Sister Karen, we love you. Yeah, we do. We appreciate Karen being here. Ever since TrampCast 001, folks, Karen's husband was subscriber number 30 something or other. Don't remember the exact number. But then when I did my first live stream, he told Karen that she should watch, you know, that there's this guy in a field, British guy in a field, that she should watch. And she contacted me on the chat, and I was talking about how my hair was long and raggedy, and I'd always been a crew cut. I'd always been a short haircut kind of guy. And my beard, at some point I'd trimmed it just with scissors. I'd put the scissors flat against the skin and cut all the hair off, except I'd left a goatee. But then as it all grows out, I'd done that a few times, so the goatee had got longer and longer. So when everything else got bushy, and then I had this big bushy long beard, long by my standards anyway. We're not talking Big Clive or anything, you know, but bushy by my standards. And she offered to come and cut my hair, and she got some. I think the first time she did it with scissors, and then the next time she came out to Spain, she brought some electric clippers from Argos, a shop in England, and razzed them over my hair and my beard and give me a proper, turned me into a proper little pretty boy here in my field. Um, oh, I was just wondering where I was going next. That's Job. There's no E on the guy in the Bible. Job, basically, and it's a whale. Does he get swallowed by? Well, they just say I think they say Leviathan. So basically, just a big animal in the sea swallowed Job. But no, he wasn't a Joby. There was no E on the end. I heard from him a week or two ago, I think. Joby, if you're out there, mate, send us another message. I was trying to persuade him to get some bricks, to find some bricks and to build a rocket stove. He made a little alcohol stove out of the bottom ends of two I think Coke cans. It might have been beer cans. Or maybe I was talking to him and telling him I'd made one once out of beer cans. So he'd got a little alcohol stove going. But I told him that a rocket stove, build basically a chimney out of the bricks and feed it with a handful of sticks and light it, and it will literally roar and it will boil in no time at all. Where are we going here, fam? 20 minutes at full boil. Lentils, not from dry. Not these. If that's where you were going, if that was a lentil thing. These lentils in Spain, I've struggled with them. When I had an apartment, lentils and chickpeas, dried ones, and the white beans, I could leave them to soak overnight. I could then freshen the water and put them in hot water and let them just sit and steep in warm, as the hot water cools. I could do that and refresh it with the hot water every now and again. And they would still boil for fucking 5 hours and still be a little bit too hard on the, a little bit too al dente on the bite. Somebody told me one mistake I was making when I was trying to cook lentils. I was putting them into tomatoes, like when I was doing a bolognese or something. So I got the tomato already in, and then add the lentils, and they were taking forever to cook. Apparently, the acidity of the tomatoes makes it more difficult to cook the lentils. So you should do them just in water or maybe salt water first. You live and you learn, folks. Chef Jean-Pierre never told me that. I've got some of his rules. Always on your number first, except when you've got bacon. That's one of his rules. That's his main rule. Mise en place, have everything prepared and in place before you start, so you're not having to run around finding ingredients and chopping things halfway through. I try and follow that as much as is practicable when I haven't got a table. I try and follow the rules, but things happen. I love get yourself a fishing rod, Mike. I've got two. I was donated two by the guy from Mountain View Farm, whose name, sorry, you see how bad I am with names. There's a video way back with a Scottish couple in Torrevieja, are they, or Scottish couple in Spain, their channel. They came around and interviewed me one time, and then he came back a couple of days later and brought his friend. I do know your name, Pat. I do know your name, and I'm just not getting there. It's not clicking. Brought me a big plastic box full of food. Some of which the police took away when they stole all my things, because I still had a few bits left in the box. Bastards. But he came back after he brought a box of food, and then a couple of days later he came back and brought a couple of fishing rods for me and Joby. But I know nothing about fishing. We had a go, as I say. We didn't make a good go of it, and it is from what I'm told by people who are actual fishermen, it's an awkward stretch of coastline to fish from when you know what you're doing. And I knew nothing. Joby has fished rivers in the UK, but not coastal, and I think he was out of his depth, trying to teach me, but he didn't know, trying to be polite about it. He didn't know his ass from his elbow here on the coastline. We were both losing hooks and losing line and weights and whatever else, lures. I don't know. We were cutting away Every time we cast, we were losing the, we were getting hung up on stuff. We're getting caught on the rocks and on the vegetation. So yeah, that was a bit awkward. So technically I do have rods. I just don't know what I'm doing with them. Farmer says lentils are in general are delicious. They are. I mean, you make a good soup just with lentils and salt. I mean, it's just like a split pea soup. If you can put a bit of ham or something in there as well. And I've got another chorizo still, so it's ham adjacent or pork adjacent. So it's like a pea soup. Oh, Karen's saying that my hair needs doing again. Yeah, what it needs is washing. It's still 15 or 16 months now since my hair was last washed. As far as I know, it never smelt. You hear people say that they smelled when they didn't wash it for ages, but I never, if it did, I never detected it, so maybe I was nose blind. I don't know. Lentils from dry take quite a while. Here. Maybe it's me, I don't know. I see. Okay. Yeah. I mean, now I've broken out the gas the stove. I could maybe go for 20 minutes in boiling water. I could try that. Do you cook outside, mate? No, campfire's not possible. You'll get me arrested. That was the excuse they used when they took all my things away. When they robbed me. When the police came and robbed me. Green garden furniture, patio furniture, fire risk. Bottle of water, fire risk. What else? Well, basically everything. They took away pots and pans and plates, fire risk. Gas barbecue, they said was a fire risk. It's arguable. I would have said not. It was a metre or more off the ground and was a self-contained thing with a lid and everything. Gas barbecue. Gas bottles, fire risk, because they could explode in the sun. Yeah, only if the sun reaches 450 fucking degrees Celsius. If that happens, you've got bigger problems than an exploding gas bottle, so I'm told. Like extinction level event. I don't know. But they used that excuse. Everything I had here, they took away. Basically, they were threatening me that if I stepped foot out of the tent, they'd arrest me. But they wanted me... They said they were going to take away everything that was outside of the tent. Well, I couldn't go out and get it because they were going to arrest me. I was using the basis of your home is your castle kind of thing, you know. They can't arrest you inside your home, even if it's a makeshift. But if it's your habitual residence, you can't be arrested in it without warrants. So I was using that. This was where the guy pulled all the tent pegs out the ground, started shaking the tent, and I threatened to smack him. Because you would. If someone's about to damage your brand new tent, you're going to defend your home to the fullest extent allowed. So I told him, this is the clever bit, it's conditional. If you carry on attempting to damage my tent, I will come out there and smack you. What? You're going to smack? You're going to hit me? You're going to hit me, a police officer? Yes. If you continue trying to damage my home, I will come out and defend myself and my home to the fullest extent allowed by law. So I'm not making like a threat to do serious harm. I'm threatening to stop him from damaging my home and to defend myself if necessary in the process. That's when I met Tom. Tom came around that night because he saw I live streamed it. I recorded the first half and I live streamed the second half when they got heavy. Anyway, where was I? Fire risk, yeah. So no, I can't just start a campfire. I did used to, but we weren't 2 years into a drought at that point. I think actually technically Spain is 3 or 4 years into a drought, but Torrevieja hadn't been too badly affected. This field was still green when I first arrived here, so having a fire, like a log fire or whatever, was okay. The cops came around a couple of times and said dangerous, don't do it, but they didn't actually make me like put the fire out. So I carried on, and I moved to putting it in a self-contained, like a chimney. I had a big metal can. I think Americans would call it a number 10 can. I took the bottom out, so it was a tube. Sat it on top of a mesh, on top of a tripod, on top of a little stand, and put wood in there and lit it with paper or with whatever from underneath. And I had self-contained fires in my little chimney, my little chimenea kind of thing, and boiled water and cooked things over the top. But then, as I said, Damien came along after I'd been here about 6 months. Damien came along, something moving, I think I've got a mouse in this side of the tent. Damien came along and brought me a camp stove, little camping, not camping gas, I think it's butane or propane, whatever it is, but seriously expensive. €10 for 450 grams of this stuff, and it would burn on a low to moderate heat. You'd get 4 hours out of it for €10. So now I'm on a proper gas bottle, 14 kilograms of gas. The stove burns faster than the camp stove would, maybe by 50% more. By my calculations, I should get about 100 hours of burn time on a low to moderate heat. I should get about 100 hours of burn time out of 14.5 kilograms. Roughly. So yeah, I know for 20 euros to refill. Bargain. As long as the cops don't come along and take it away. Fire risk. My arse. Any more for any more. I think he just put up a cooking vid this week. I did indeed, Thomas. On, I think Friday, I released the curry video. Or was it Saturday? I released it Saturday morning. I edited it Friday, released it Saturday morning. It was a chickpea and chorizo curry with some white beans, onions, caramelized onions, parsnips and carrots, in a tomato sauce. I was in two minds whether to go cream based or tomato based, but after I'd fried the onions and chorizo and it had all turned orange, I should have thought about that first. I should have known that was going to happen. I went with tomato as the base. I think I could have got away with cream. The oranginess would have been watered down by the cream and it would have got that curry-ish look, especially with a bit of curry powder added. So yeah, I do curry. I have, there is a playlist of cooking with a tramp, cooking with a hobo, whatever it is I call it. Change names at times. It started as Tramp, but YouTube doesn't really like me using the word tramp because they think that I might be talking about a woman of ill repute. But I'm not. I'm talking about me living in a field with rats and mice. No fishy for the dishing, no. When I get back to the UK, will I wild camp or get in accommodation? I would hope I would get into some accommodation. By the time I get back to the UK, I will have had access to I must have had access to my bank account. Otherwise I wouldn't have got back. Or if I am back and haven't had access to my bank account, the first thing to do will be to present myself in my bank in that specific branch, is what they're insisting on. And then they'll free up my bank account and give me my money. Not a lot, but it should be enough to get me started. Should be enough to put a deposit down on a flat or an apartment, however you want to call it. Should be enough to let me put a deposit down and get a couple of months worth of rent till I get myself sorted. That's the hope anyway. That's the hope. I don't intend to go back to the UK and carry on being a tramp unless something goes really, really wrong. So probably. If it can go wrong, it will. The condiments that the ladies dropped off, Mark's talking about. Hello, Mark. I didn't see you there before. I don't know whether you've just arrived. Yeah, a whole bag of what the ladies brought is what was it? The salad, was it mayo, salad cream, barbecue, ranch, basic. There was mustards. basically every sauce known to man, I think. I'm an English salad cream. I've never seen that out here. You probably have to go somewhere specific to buy that, or bring it out with you. I don't know. English salad cream, yeah. There was no brown sauce in there, I don't think. I mean, there was barbecue, but not an English HP sauce or a Daddy's. Don't think so anyway. I think someone else brought me one of those once upon a time, but I think that's run out. I think that's all gone. Okay, I'm rambling, guys. I'm rambling. Let's get this wrapped up because I'm getting cold. In fact, I've got a jumper here that I haven't put on. Shall we have a vote? I can't do an actual poll, but would you like me to carry on rambling and just answering your questions, or do you want me to bring this to a close so you can get away? Answers in the chat. Carry on for half an hour or make a move. John would love to come and see us. Well, you're welcome anytime, mate. If you've got the mobility. I think you're in a camper van. Is that your main main residence? They frown upon them out here. They're not very tolerant towards camper vans stroke RVs. They used COVID as an excuse to close down the places that everybody camped. Let me do this again. Farmer says carry on. Okay, I'll if other people agree. I mean, some people might want to get off. If anybody wants to jib now, if you want to leave, that's fine, guys. I have finished all my details of the actual week, but I am enjoying the chat. The last 2 weeks have been really good for the chat. Everything was a little bit quiet before that. I think Tim Timoney's a big part of it. Asks a lot of questions. Oh, you're in a flat at the moment. I don't know, if you've got the money and you want to come to Torrevieja, is a great place to come for a holiday. If you snag a holiday let, or if you've got friends out here or something. Oh, cheers for that, Farmer. Telling everyone to like and subscribe. Thank you very much. Vieja. Torrevieja, old female. Vieja, old tower. So you can't replace your cooking hob. The one I've got, the cooking ring I've got, is a replacement. After the police took mine away, I should be careful what I say on these streams. I'm going to assume that the cops aren't looking through 2-hour and 3-hour streams for random shit I say. After the police took away everything, they took away like all my cooking things, knives, forks, spoons. See, everything food related was outside at the barbecue, because my barbecue was 2 gas rings. Well, they weren't rings, they were kind of oblongs, but with a curved corner. When they took everything food related was there, my plates, dishes, pots, pans, knives, forks, spoons, just pans, spatulas, ladles, knives, kitchen knives, chef knife, gone. They took everything because they were challenging me to step outside so they could arrest me. And then it was, well, if you don't come outside and take all of this in, anything left outside we're going to take away because it's a fire risk. So they were playing at kind of catch-22 shit. But straight away I had people contacting me. What do you need? What do you need? Tell us what you need most. And I said, well, I need some kind of cooking stove or gas or and a lady, I think it was Linda, I can't remember her partner's name, but they contacted me and said, we can get you, a cooking ring and a gas bottle. Now, I know that they're 20 euros to fill the gas bottle, but I've no idea what it costs to get them in the first place, because you take them back and just do like a free exchange. Well, you swap an empty for a full, and you pay just for the gas, the 20 euros. But I've no idea how much it costs to get a new bottle. But they did me an incredible favour. I think she brought me a few bits and pieces as well. Another couple brought me a big plastic box. Big plastic box, and full of knives, forks, spoons, and there was a bag with plates and cups and all sorts. I think that was Graham and... Sorry, Graham. And Graham's wife. Me and names. And the fact that I've lost a lot of my contacts on my phone. When my last phone packed in and I got this new phone and I connected to my Google account, only a small proportion of my contacts came across. I think they'd been stored on the phone rather than in the Google account. So only older ones that I'd already got came across. Something like that. I fucked up somehow. Didn't get everything. So I can't even contact people. But Tim is asking, why do Americans call it a number 10 can? I've no idea, mate. It's a big, so it's not like your normal 450 grams or 1 pound can. It's, I don't know whether it's a gallon or half a gallon or something. I'm not sure. I don't know why number 10. At some point somebody numbered them and that was what it was called. Yep. I almost banned somebody there by accident. Yeah, okay, yeah. I got to be careful what I say, because even if they're not listening, somebody could report. Somebody else could listen and report. Chat loyal. Tim is a media tart. Okay. But yeah, I don't mind talking about this shit. I got into kind of not an argument with the mayor, but the mayor decided to set out and find me one day. And he made it sound like he was wanting to help and he was going to send his welfare guy around. And the welfare guy came around, did papers please, and set the police on me. Cost me €450, in theory. So I got to be careful, because there are powers out there that are maybe not happy with me. But I have been left alone by the police for an incredible long time at the minute. Since April or May. I'd have to look back. There is a playlist. There's various playlists, folks. If you know how to use YouTube properly, if you click my name under a video, you click the Delta mic down and out in Torrevieja. Click that. It will take you to my profile page, and then from there, there's a row of sections. Videos, live streams, community pages, shorts, whatever. And playlists is one of the things. And I've got a whole list of playlists. There's one about my interactions with the police. There's one for cooking. There's one for where me and Tina used to go on walkies around along the seafront and around the town centre and what have you, on the beach. There's one where I used to record the birds that flew around this field. They didn't come this year. They didn't come in any serious amount, but the year before they were swooping around me and flying this far past my head while I was filming them. Incredible. I don't even know what kind. I never found out what kind of birds they were. Swallows or swifts or some. They had that forked tail, that swift-like tail. But I don't actually know. Fantastic videos though. Lower quality because it was an older phone and I didn't have the bandwidth and the camera wasn't as good. All those reasons. But there are playlists covering all sorts of different things. Cooking, nature, thunderstorms, whatever. I think one of them, there's a playlist called The Rain in Spain Falls Mainly on Me. That was when we were getting ripped by storms quite heavily, quite often. Yeah, yeah, fun. But those playlists, they're all great. Is Tim leaving? Okay, Timony, bye. Check midweek. See, I'm going to see whether I can't find a slot, maybe on a Tuesday, to do just a hangout that's different. Talk about old TV programs or old adverts or old, I don't know, Find something, just find something different to natter about rather than me and my life. But catch you later, mate. Yeah, I don't want to get hassled again. That's okay. So yeah, I think, folks, unless any more questions, I don't think I've missed any. I don't think I've missed too much of too much weight. The old tower, yeah, Torrevieja. And the old tower was destroyed. Well, the whole town was destroyed in 1830 something or other, I think it is, by an earthquake. You see, if they get another one here, I might be the only guy left standing. All their houses and apartment blocks are probably built shoddily in the 70s and 80s, you know, by corrupt builders. The whole place could collapse and I could be just sat happily in a field with my EcoFlow and my solar panel. Who knows? Farmer's enjoying the chat. Okay, I'm just looking back. Yeah, if anybody wants to visit ever, I mean, if you're in Torrevieja or if you want to come out to Torrevieja, when the tent was new, I could have put you up in the spare bedroom, but now it's leaky and horrible and full of the crap that accumulates over time, folks. Anytime anybody brings me anything, I pretty much accept it, even if it's kind of a little bit unworkable right now or I don't have a need right now. You never know what you might be able to fashion out of it later. Few things like that have you know, when you've had to adapt and do things like fastening a tarpaulin onto the frame of a tent with cable ties is possibly a next move, so that it's not, so that the grips aren't putting so much stress on the fabric. Things like that, things that you just, a couple of weeks ago I found my rubber mallet and I found like 3 packs of tent pegs. Shit goes missing. I didn't know I had these packs of tent pegs. How have I got, there was at least 2 full packs of like new packs of tent pegs. How have I got tent pegs that I don't know about when I'm living in a tent that's almost blowing away in the fucking wind? Or would be if it didn't have a sturdy armchair and a table and a carpet and 2 mattresses and a roll of carpet and various boxes and bits and pieces. Are dried beans a good staple? They are. Anything like that. I mean, they do those. That's the cheapest way to do it. The ones that are easier to cook, obviously, are the ones they do a lot in Spain of jars of already cooked beans and chickpeas. Also, a little while ago, someone gave me a few cuppa soups and other packet soups. Dehydrated stuff like that is quick and easy to make and can be either had just as a soup or can be a base for something more complicated, you know. Put some onions in and whatever else and a bit of mashed potato powder or something or pasta and build from there. Socks. Damien got me 18 pairs of socks. But if you look back, I think it's the video where I said something, it's labeled something like, has Christmas come early? And it was like May, I think May. And he brought me the cooking stuff, but I think he brought me a bottle of whiskey. Which knocked my head off because I'd not drunk spirits in so long at that point, I think. He brought me, at some point, a couple of baseball caps. I think there were t-shirts. There were 1 or 2 pairs of shorts, 18 pairs of socks. And he got me like walking boots, like part trainers, part, you know, training footwear, plimsolls, if you're American. Part that, but part walking boot, you know, like a really rugged pair of trainer boots, sports shoe boots, however you want to word it. I think he also got me something just more throw on, something more like he got me trainers because I think it was a used pair, and instead of laces it had these rubber bands across the lace holes that just pushed through and anchored with the rubber pushes through and has like a split to stop them popping back out. And so it was just elastic. I could just throw those on and off when I got out of bed in the middle of the night and, to do whatever. So, yeah, but I've used, it's been over 18 months, 21 months, in 3 months, whenever we get back around to April or May, whatever it was, it'll have been 2 years. And I can't have used more than 3 or 4 pairs of those socks. Basically, I put them on and I wear them solidly for about a month. Maybe I'll rinse them out once a week or once every 2 weeks, hang them out to dry and just put them back on later that day. And I wear them to death, just with the odd wash every week or two. I'm certainly not washing them daily. I haven't got enough water to spare for that shit. But I do that, and then I wear them to death until my feet go through, the heel goes through, or the toes go through. And if it's only one sock that's gone through, I'll keep the other one and put it to one side until the next pair finish and go through. And then I'll match the good sock with the good sock and keep going. And I can't have used more than 4 or 5 pairs of socks in all that time. So I've still got somewhere in there. They're in a box in the bedroom. I know where they are. It's just the box has got other stuff on top that makes it awkward to get to. But yeah, I got socks. I think he got them from the market. Let's have a look. Sandals, yes. They do them nice and cheap at the Chino bazaars. Basically your dollar stores, Dollar Tree, whatever, and Poundland and Pound Shop and whatever in England. Over here in Spain, they're all Chinese owned due to some shenanigans with governments way back, and they'll do a pair of sandals for 12 euros, maybe 15 euros, as long as you're not a weird foot size, as long as you're not, yeah. I got movement over here. There's definitely a mouse over here in the spare bedroom. I'll chase it afterwards. Where am I? Tina has a habit of breaking my footwear. If that you were asking about socks and how do they go through, and is it Tina? Shoes, footwear. She's a terrible habit of clipping the back of my heel while I'm walking and pulling the sole off. And I've tried all sorts of glues to put them back together, but it's only been the glues that I've had laying around. So like super glues or Pritt stick or whatever. Those glue sticks, like a lipstick, but with glue in them. I don't know. I wouldn't know where to get like proper shoe glue. So basically, Tina rips my shoes apart. Hasn't happened for a while because she's been less mobile. But she does still have that habit. She ripped the shoes off my foot last night while we were walking. That's my girl. Back to normal. As soon as she gets a bit of mobility, she's back to her old habits and stripping my shoes off and trying to break them. Joby used to comment that she was like my nemesis, that she was sent here just deliberately to make fucking life more difficult. And for a while, it was very much like that. She would just look at things and break things. There's a video with my last tent, the tent before this one, where I'd got her tied to a log outside, a big heavy log, just to hold her in place. It didn't stop her moving, but the intention was to limit her so she couldn't run off too far or too fast. So a friend arrives and walks down the path at the top of the field, and Tina takes off towards the friend. And she drags the log all the way along the length of the tent, ripping the bottom of the tent, the entire fucking length of the tent. I was very, very angry. And I posted a video where I kind of said, fucking dog. Da, 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 da. I think it's still out there. I don't hide these things. If you've owned a dog, you know those frustrating moments that happen when your favorite whatever gets chewed or broken. When you put a plate of food down and go answer the phone or something and you come back and your food's gone. But when the place you're living in, when your shelter, when you're when the thing protecting you from the elements gets ripped end to end by your fucking dog. And I think this was only a number of days after she'd split the other end to end while chasing a rat. She put her feet through the bottom of the tent where the tent meets the floor. She put her feet through the canvas, well, through the plastic, and just ripped that end of the tent. Death and destruction. I call her that for a fucking reason. Yeah. Thomas wore sneakers and a pair of boots in Spain last year. Was it that warm? That cool? Was it cool enough for you to just be wearing normal footwear? I must admit, somebody gave me some flip-flops, and I think I've got some sandals in here somewhere. I mentioned last week, I think it was, that I've got about 8 pairs of footwear in here. But I didn't touch the sandals or the flip-flops. I can't do that. You have to curl your toes to keep them on your feet, and that I end up with aching arches and things. That doesn't work for me. But sandals I could wear, but I've got them, I think, and I didn't wear them at all. Socks, yeah. Tina, she doesn't get a chance to rob my socks and take them away. It's not like she finds them in the night and runs off with them, because basically they don't come off my feet. I stay pretty much clothed in bed at night in case I need to react to something or someone. I need to be able to get up and out. In storms, I've been known to sleep in bed with my boots on or my shoes on. Coat, like jumper, shirt, t-shirt, shirt, jumper, coat, and shoes, ready to go out if I need to patch the roof or do something with a tent. Yeah. The line of life, says Thomas. Okay, folks. I think I'm running out of stuff to say unless anybody's got any more comments. She's a good companion. Everyone who's had a dog knows that you get those moments, don't you? You get those moments. Like, oh God, I moved in. If my mate Ismo from Finland, came over just after I was made homeless, and I was staying with a friend, and I'd been there about a week, and Ismo came over for a month, and got an apartment. I moved in with Ismo, and we got a tray of 24 eggs. And the apartment we were staying in was a shocking shithole, overpriced and rubbish, no doors on the cupboards, and not many cupboards up high. So we ended up putting this tray of eggs inside this what should have been a cupboard, but with no door. And we get up the next morning, and Tina's eaten like 12 of the 24 eggs. She's just standing there, just chomping, just chowing down on a tray of eggs. Which is bad in and of itself. That's half of our bloody eggs gone. Now, they weren't expensive. They were only like €1.50 a dozen. So €3 for the 24 probably. A little bit more expensive now, but not much more. But the kicker was later that day, or in the evening. Let's just say she gave herself a bad stomach with the eggs. She just stood there, no warning. She stood there in the middle of the apartment and just let loose at the back. It's just brown projectile. Basically, she was pissing shit out her ass. And the pool of it growing on the floor, white tiled floor, and the stench. Yeah, dogs. So I spent the next hour and a half cleaning that up. Went through almost a whole roll of kitchen roll, paper towel. And we bagged it rather than flushed it because it would have clogged the loo. So now we're doing that, and then half an hour to take the bag out to the bin because I couldn't have it in the house carrying on smelling like it. And even when I got back, the house just still stank of it. Still stunk vile. All the doors and windows open. Dogs. You love them, but She's a good companion. She's protection as well. If she hears something going on, she'll alert me and start barking, as you've seen today with cars and people going past. Sometimes she's overly doing it, sometimes it's too much, but I love it a bit, you know. I got some unfortunate comments yesterday on the cookery video. They're still there, but I'm not happy about them. People making medical diagnosis of a dog based on her laying down bored while I'm filming a cookery video, and suggesting that her time is at an end. Telling me that she's in pain when I see no sign of pain. So that was a little bit disturbing. Fortunately, those individuals aren't here today. Otherwise, the banhammer would have been wielded. But we'll see. We'll see what they say in future. But I don't think we're at that stage. Okay, babe. I'm finishing up now. I'll take you for walkies. I walked her just before, like half an hour before we came live, but I think she wants to go again. And then that'll be us until, I don't know, 2 or 3 o'clock. I'm sure she'll start nudging me in bed. Okay, folks. Lovely talking with you all. Have a good one, those of you that are here. Tuesday, watch out for Tuesday. I'm going to try and have a hangout. I know those of you that are stateside, those of you the other side of the pond, it might be an awkward time because Tuesday, late morning or early afternoon for you guys might not work too well. But okay, guys, I'm going to let you go. I've prattled on for too long. We finished probably an hour ago, really. But enjoyed the chat. Thank you very much, guys. Let me see whether I can finish in the traditional style, if Tina will cooperate, which probably means no. Hey babe, where are you? Where are you? Can I get the, okay, let me see whether I can get the brightness up. Here we go. Let's get the brightness up, so let's see whether we can see Tina. Oh, there she is, look. Okay, folks. Tina girl, say bye-bye to the peoples. Okay. From Tina. Oops. And from me, Delta Mike. Out. Awkward moment.